Welcome back to the Pot of Greed.
Yeah, we're happy to have you. Happy Thursday to everybody here.
It's Wednesday listening.
For us. Yeah, recording this on Wednesday. Happy Thursday. Shout out to everybody who's watching the YouTube premiere.
Put the ones in the chat if you're here live.
And also, happy birthday to Alec. It is his birthday today.
It is.
We're all very happy
Happy
for him.
birthday to me.
Yeah, so how does it feel? Are you having a good birthday?
My birthday's pretty good right now. I
good.
can't complain. I got messages from all my loved ones. Got some new tech. Got a new Blu-ray disc. I like to collect Blu-rays of like anime movies and TV shows that I enjoyed.
Yeah, you can drop a happy birthday maybe in the chat as well. So anywho, this is going to be an interesting week, I think, because there haven't been like any huge Yu-Gi-Oh stories.
No, it certainly feels like we're just kind of coasting towards the ban list.
Some small interesting stuff. I like that you mentioned coasting towards the ban list. I feel like that's eternally Yu-Gi-Oh in a way.
But like right now, it really feels like the player base is just like, hey man, I'm just waiting for that list.
Yeah. Well, we can first of all kick this off with a little review from Apple Podcasts. This person actually said that they re-downloaded Apple Podcasts on their phones that could give this a rating.
Oh, wow.
I appreciate that.
Cool.
That's cool. I truly love this podcast. I especially appreciate that there aren't any ads in the episodes, so I can put this podcast on while working out or showering and not have to reach my phone in the middle of stuff to skip an ad.
There aren't ads? We don't have any ads?
If anybody wants to give us some ads, I won't complain, but
hey, I mean,
for now, it sounds like it's working out.
All right.
Alec
cool.
and Paul have a great rapport.
plan.
I've been following Team APS for a while, I think about 2 years now. I like how they discuss things rationally, even if they have strong opinions about something. It's nice to hear just honest talk about Yu-Gi-Oh! And other TCG and entertainment properties, not have to worry about someone yelling in the middle of the podcast. Love you guys. Love your work. Keep it up. Pass turn.
See, this is why we have Paul on the podcast. So that when I get energetic and start wanting to yell about things, Paul's there to have a rational take. So he balances it out.
I don't know. Sometimes when I read these comments, people think I'm irrational. Anyway, so thank you for the review. We appreciate it. If you guys are watching or listening on any particular platform, reviews
however you gotta
always
do
help
it.
out loads. Let's go through the Yu-Gi-Oh news, shall we?
Yeah, however much there is.
I'm gonna say the big one that I found and that I think is like kind of worth talking about, I suppose, is the McDonald's Hello Kitty collab.
Okay.
So
that's the Belgium only.
Yeah, McDonald's latest attempt at getting kids and weebs, this is Kotaku's words, not mine, excited about eating at the fast food chain involves mixing Hello Kitty characters with Yu-Gi-Oh creatures to create new Happy Meal toys as part of a limited time collaboration. So, yeah, basically, we can get these only if you're in Belgium. Belgium.
The Pokemon
Belgium. You can only get these in Belgium. The collaboration between the two brands started on March 6th and includes 10 new Happy Meal toys that merge Hello Kitty and Yu-Gi-Oh creatures and characters. So I don't know a lot about Hello Kitty, but here are the monsters that you can get. You can get My Melody as Dark Magician Girl, Tuxedo Sam as Obelisk the Tormentor, Kuromi as Slifer the Sky Dragon, Choco Cat as the Winged Dragon of Ra, Hello Kitty as Dark Magician, Cinema Roll as Blue Eyes White Dragon, Keropi as Kuribo, Pom Pom Purin as Exodia the Forbidden One, Pochako as Time Wizard, and Badsmaru as Red Eyes Black Dragon. Sorry, it was a bit of a mouthful. I don't know Hello Kitty characters very well.
I didn't know what those were. I knew the monsters. The cats. I mean, cool. That's cool, I guess.
Yeah. Also, McDonald's is teasing some sort of digital experience that will bring these toys right in front of your eyes, though people have not been able to, or this article, the person who wrote this article has not been able to find any footage of what that actually entails.
Come on, Belgians. Let's get that video on YouTube already. We want to know.
This is awesome. It's going to be going on until April 9th. And man, I'm jealous. Like, I think that they should have put this, why is this not in America?
I think the idea here is that the Belgians are bigger fans of Hello Kitty and Yu-Gi-Oh than we are.
Is that true? I mean, I don't know.
They released it in the entire world. This was released in one country, and it's Belgium. You know what that says? The Belgians, they care. They're bigger fans than us.
Yeah. It is a little strange. I mean, my guess, realistically, is that it's like a kind of one of those things where, like, Netflix or other places will release, like, features in, I don't want to call them random countries, but, like, in countries that are not like as large because it's maybe easier to manage.
We'll just say smaller markets.
Yeah, like smaller
something
markets.
Something politically
to kind of
correct.
Focus, group it. I don't know. I mean, I think this would be really cool to have in the States. I mean, Pokemon does these like Pokemon card collabs with McDonald's. Granted, if that happened, they would probably all just sell out, and you know what I mean? Because like you'd have.
I mean, I don't think so. Like, yes, Yu-Gi-Oh is a huge franchise, but it pales in comparison to what it once was.
Yeah, I think that this would be just. I don't think that these would sell out in America. Like these kind of just Hello Kitty X Yu-Gi-Oh things. I think they would be popular, but I don't think it would be like, you know, literally there are $500 on eBay by secondhand, you know, resellers, and like every moment you go to McDonald's, they're sold out. But I do still think they'd be pretty popular. So
I do think though, if they ever did McDonald's promotional cards again, that would sell out.
yeah, see that's the thing. If they did, because these are just like little figures, I suppose.
Yeah, just little toy things.
But if there were cards, or like, you know, like you get a pack and it's like, you know, 1 of 10 cards or something inside.
I think that would sell out.
Woo, that'd sell out. You'd have a bunch of 30-year-olds, you know, basically preventing, us preventing, you know, like kids from getting Happy Meals.
Yeah, it's like, these are my Happy Meals.
Yeah, I ordered.
Y'all can have the food, I guess.
I ordered
There you go.
20 Happy Meals. Sam would make a video.
Yeah, that you just titled it for him.
Yeah, I bought every Happy Meal from from every McDonald's in my country.
Woo.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I still think this would be cool. I mean, like it's nice to see kind of this small bit of like Yu-Gi-Oh in even if it's the tiniest sliver of the mainstream is always exciting to me. So cool.
It is a shame to see that how Yu-Gi-Oh has slid out of its mainstream performance. I guess it goes to show how difficult it is to stay relevant like that. Because I mean,
it's tough.
Back, you know, in Pokemon's heyday, right? They weren't the only giant at the time.
Yeah.
I mean, Digimon was huge. Yu-Gi-Oh was huge.
Yeah, there
were quite a few different like huge properties for kids back then. And look who stands alone in 2024.
Now, granted, I mean, Pokemon isn't without its issues, right? Like, heavy is the head that wears the crown
What
or
issues?
whatever.
All I hear
But the thing is,
cha-ching.
yeah, it gets sales. So, like, yeah, people are like, oh, these Pokemon games aren't great or whatever. But
Van
they're
Gogh
still fine.
Museum violence, cha-ching.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, it's still nice to see, like, Yu-Gi-Oh get some attention in this way. And hopefully they will just decide to maybe bring this over to the States eventually at some point. Looking on eBay, non-Belgium fans will have to fork over around $75 to get their hands on all these new stuffed Happy Meal
Is that
toys.
for all of them or each?
I don't know, but that's just what somebody says in this article. Maybe if I go on here, I might be able to get a decent idea.
Depending on how supply is working in Belgium, I mean, maybe there's enough where they're not charging $75 a piece, because that would be insane.
Yeah, according to eBay, it kind of seems like there's just different. Yeah, I can't really get a good gauge on the price of things.
What's like one? What? Tell us one price you see.
I don't actually. So
you haven't found
most of them are just like, it's just because Hello Kitty collabs with everything apparently, and there's like a lot of different Hello Kitty x McDonald's collabs.
Oh.
And so I don't actually see any of the Yu-Gi-Oh ones. The only Yu-Gi-Oh stuff I see is like the old Happy Meals from 2006 that had like Yu-Gi-Oh
Millennium
toys
Shield
and stuff.
Oh, those.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and there's like one that has like the cards. So I'm not really sure how much they're going for. I'm assuming that maybe this person means like for about $75 you'd be able to get them all.
I would hope so.
But I would hope so. It would be nice. Anywho, though, doesn't sound like it's gotten violent or anything yet. Not that I've heard. But if you live in Belgium, then A, I'm jealous of you. And B, hopefully you can go and get yourself a Hello Kitty X Yu-Gi-Oh! Happy Meal.
Never thought about
toy.
it, but I would love to visit that country. I've never thought about it until now.
I wouldn't mind, that's for sure.
They have the chocolate.
Yes. Yeah. Can
least
I
I
have a
have-
Belgian waffle?
Oh, and they have the waffle.
Are their waffles actually different, I wonder?
Or is it like an American naming
all those
convention?
things where we just
Kind of like
name
how we have
America.
French fries.
Yeah, French fries.
And the French are just like, huh?
And we have what do they call Taco Bell?
I mean,
There's like a name for basically American Mexican, like Tex-Mex. Is that what people? You know?
mean, there is Tex-Mex, but even Taco Bell's different from that.
Yeah, I don't know. There's like some name for it. It's on the tip of my tongue. Anywho, in other Yu-Gi-Oh news, we have gotten some pretty interesting announcements for the Infinite Forbidden. some new support cards and things.
Oh yeah, I saw that post just
Nothing
the other day.
too crazy, but like
I liked the new Xyz monster.
which one?
The Illusion Xyz monster. It's a rank 4.
Oh yeah. I saw there's a rank 4 Illusion Xyz. What does it do? Is it like
It has a funky little effect. It can target a monster on board to negate its effects, but if that monster battled this turn, then you can take control of it. And if this monster has an illusion monster as Xyz material, this effect can be a quick effect.
Okay.
Also, if it battles a monster, neither it or the monster it battles can be destroyed by the battle.
Okay. Yeah, I was trying to like see because I know there's like the new Drytron cards that were shown.
Yep.
There's like the new Pendulum cards that they were showing.
Pendulum cards, plural?
Yeah, or there's like one.
I know I saw one. Yeah. I think we saw the same
There's
one.
a few. I won't go over all of them because I mean, frankly, like it.
I only remember the one because that was one that interested me. I'm going to play Illusion
I feel like we're being
Soup.
very bad Yu-Gi-Oh! News anchors today.
So many people in the Yu-Gi-Oh! Space online have gone through these cards, card by card, talk about their effects and their implications. Like, y'all don't need us to do that. I was like, I just want to tell you guys the one I found interesting.
Okay, there is a new Cyber Synchro monster, DPA Jean d'Amour.
Yeah, and it's fire.
And it's generic as hell. Like, it just, when it's synchro summoned, you can special summon a level 4 Cybers from your grave.
I would be very surprised if this didn't end up in some Salamangreat combo. Because they already have, 2 synchro monsters, or is only one?
Salamangrates, I think, can only have one.
Well, now they have 2.
There's also Astral World Tree Illuministil.
That one I just didn't want to read all that. It looked like a plant.
Yeah, it's a rank or a link 5. Each time your opponent special summons a monster, you gain life points equal to its attack, and then once per turn, you can pay life points in multiples of 1,000 to give it an equal amount of attack.
The Aromage boss monster.
Yeah, sort of kind of is, huh? The machine was Deceive Blaster, the Matchless Turret.
I did not want to read all that either.
Pendulum. Yeah, a lot to read. I mean, I'll probably wait until closer to this set's release to really inspect these cards.
Though, I'm thinking about it. The Pendulum monster does have a kind of a unique mechanic to it. Mm-hmm. It's interesting. As a monster, it can, I think, it special summon itself to a zone that has nothing in its column.
Yeah.
And then it can just kind of freely negate things
all
in its column.
All cards and effects activated in its card's column.
And the pendulum effect is pretty much the same thing, but for the pendulum zone.
In the same column. It's really cool. There's also one other kind of funny one, just this card, Shivertaki. It's like a shiitake mushroom.
Oh, I haven't seen this one.
But it's like a thunder monster. So if a thunder monster is sent from your hand or field to the grave, you can special summon this card from your hand. Mm-hmm. And if a thunder monster's effect is activated in the hand while you control it, you get to summon a token.
This is Thunder Dragon support.
So it's kind of indirect Thunder Dragon support.
I wonder if that's going to help you make your Thunder Dragon Link monster a little bit easier.
It certainly would be material for it. This thing is level 5, so you can't just normal summon it out, so you're going to have to try to summon it with its own effect.
Which shouldn't be hard if you're playing Thunder Dragons. I haven't played Thunder Dragons in
I've been a bit.
I missed that deck.
I would like to see Colossus.
Konami, give me one Colossus. Just give me one. Y'all don't need to search.
It's in Master Duel, and the sad part is it doesn't feel like it's very much of a problem.
Because cutting off searching, I think it's still pretty decent. But if you're using one monster that you spent resources to do it, you might be in for a bit of a rude awakening in today's game.
Yeah. So in other Yu-Gi-Oh news, I was gonna hop on YGorg and see what else is going on. The Master Duel Duelist Cup March 2024 has begun.
So
not a lot to say about this. I'm gonna play in the stage 1 thing. I don't think I'm still not ready to go through the gauntlet of stage 2.
Don't worry, guys, it's coming. He'll get there.
I did hear that they slightly changed one thing, which is that on the second stage, and this is based on I think player feedback, they will normalize all usernames and mates and stuff, and or icons or whatever.
So you can't tell who you're playing against.
So it'll just probably say Duelist A.
So what does that do?
And it'll just have probably the Vegamon icon or something. I don't know why they're doing that. I don't know if it was maybe considered distracting.
Which that doesn't feel
someone's username might have been don't chain or something, and it maybe mentally kind of distracted you.
That one feels strange to me. Maybe there's some way you can, if you know who you're playing against, maybe you throw for them. I don't know.
That could be it.
And I
Maybe,
don't
like,
condone that, guys. Konami, I don't cheat. I don't do that sort of thing. So don't ban me. But if you do ban me, it's okay. I'm not playing in events anyway.
Yeah, maybe that's what it is. Like if you recognize like kind of somebody that,
because I guess if you think about it,
you
if
and your friends are maybe like collaborating.
Because if you have a group of people that you're all playing, and well, whoever wins is gonna tap his friends to go to Worlds, anyway, then you're all just playing at the same time, and we already know there is, at least on the ranked ladder, especially at Master 1, there is a way to kind of snipe your way into someone's game if you both start searching at the same time.
Yes, so
maybe
I don't know. Yeah, I really don't know what that's about, but there are also some new Funko mystery pins that they've announced.
Wait, I thought we talked about the pins, unless there's new ones.
Did we talk about the pins
last week? I thought.
I don't think so.
Maybe we didn't. Maybe you told me about it, and I'm thinking we talked about it.
I think we saw the Toon cards. There's Toon Summon Skull and Toon Blue Eyes as like figures from somewhere else.
Yeah, we saw figures.
Well, either way, there's some Funko pins. If we mentioned it last week, sorry, we're mentioning it again. There's Funko Pop pins. There's Pegasus, Blue Eyes, White Dragon, Seto Kaiba, Yugimoto, Dark Magician.
Oh, these are different from what I was thinking.
Dark Magician and Joey. Yeah, here they.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I have not seen those.
These are actually pretty cool pins. Like they're 1.5 inches, so that could actually be, and they're on randomized like blind boxes. Probably a little smaller than that. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, they come in blind boxes, so I guess maybe
it's a gotcha.
Pay like $5 or something.
It's a loot box. You find out what you get.
Get a pin. I can see these being pretty popular in like a convention setting.
Yeah, just little people love random
$5
chance.
or $6, get one. You could throw it in a larger mystery box and have some fun with it. Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I think that with stuff like this, it's nice. Although I am realizing more and more and more so that they kind of are already getting negative this early in the podcast.
I mean, it's like any other podcast.
Okay. Sorry, guys. I know like some people hate it when I get to talking like this. They use like the same characters all the time. Like it's always just Yugi, Joey, Kaiba, Pegasus, Dark Magician, all that stuff.
Because they sell.
And they sell. And I totally understand. So I'm not suggesting that that's like inherently wrong. It's just like, man, can we please hurry and get to like I've seen a little bit of GX stuff in these. There's been a few more like with GX things with Funko and all. Like, hurry up. Like, let's get GX and 5Ds and like Zexal.
More than likely, Funko has a limit to what their license is with
Yu-Gi-Oh!
With Yu-Gi-Oh!
Stuff.
So I think they have to slowly get access to other Yu-Gi-Ohs. 'Cause I don't think Funko has touched 5Ds outside of Stardust.
Yeah, they did that one Stardust Dragon.
I think that's it, yeah.
Yeah, I would like to see them just get a little bit more. I mean, it also factors into that bigger thing I have with like Yu-Gi-Oh! As a property versus like the Yu-Gi-Oh! Trading card game.
They are separate.
Disjointed. Because like you can buy this stuff and it might kind of reignite your interest in.
Wow, that was fast.
Okay,
all right, guys, we're locked in with you
this week. Yeah, you guys can see our faces for the rest of the day. Yeah, like I don't know. I just think that it would be kind of nice to Albaz, Ecclesia, Visas. No, but I don't think that would sell. No. So
that would only appeal to Yu-Gi-Oh players now who know what they are. And as we already discussed, that's a very small group slice, compared to like the wider Yu-Gi-Oh audience.
Fair.
Which is a shame. Konami, make the anime or. No. Yeah, you know what, Konami? Make the anime.
Well, I mean, they made those anime promos. Like, there's something there.
Just do it.
Speaking of those, I've noticed that they just spam out each of those little videos. Just like once a day, there's just like, here's the Melfi one, here's the whatever, like insert Ice Barrier one. And I feel like I'm just being like a little bitch today. I'm just complaining. But like, I guess like I see them and I'm like, I get it. It's hype. They get lots of likes and kind of get people. But it's like, okay, you guys are going to do something with that now, right?
I would hope so. I hope it didn't just amount to just marketing.
Yeah, like here's just a little 20, 30-second clip of this like archetype. And then and we're just going to like recycle these every month for likes to kind of get you generally like hyped, but for something that won't ever...
I mean, we just don't know. We can't know. We can't get into the brains of Konami Japan. They're the ones that control it. If they want to grow Yu-Gi-Oh, it's on them.
Yeah.
which it sounds like they only care about Rush Duels, but yeah.
I'm being harsh. I'm sorry. I apologize. Okay. Anyways, there is one last new archetype that we totally forgot to talk about that is in the Infinite Forbidden, and that is the Fiendsmiths.
Oh.
So people are really
featuring Dante from Devil May Cry.
Looks like it. I mean, sort of. They are this red-haired guy. He's been pretty popular online.
Dante.
Somebody said that they want him to grab them by the hair.
Let's not finish that statement.
Drag them across his rock-hard abs.
Wow, that's a visual.
A tweet that I saw. But, yeah, it's about this kind of level 6 light fiend guy who seems to be more or less the protagonist. And then there's, like, fusion monsters, and one of the cards resembles Despair from the Dark.
Yeah, so just aesthetically, from what I can tell, so he's a guy... I don't know if he doesn't seem to be a fiend himself, but at least he can control and fight fiends. He feeds them to that coffin on his back, and that gives him like power and energy to then like transform and do even crazier things.
Yes. Okay.
And yeah, we did kind of see that Despair from the Dark-esque fiend, but I don't know if that's supposed to be exactly Despair from the Dark, or is it just that, you know, Despair from the Dark is like a good catch-all appearance for any fiend.
Yeah, so
it's like the generic fiend.
Very cool. I like the look of this. The art is very neat. The monsters, I like kind of where you see the monster on each of the different arts. Kind of reminds you of like the Sky Striker thing, where like he's pretty much involved with everything that's going on. He's attacking things, he's absorbing them, he's powering up. I haven't looked too much into the play style itself. I just know that he is a light fiend, and it kind of seems like that's the gist of it, is a bunch of light fiend monsters.
I think it's so far it seems to be one of those archetypes where there's just like one main deck monster who is the focus of the strategy, and then everything else is just spell traps and extra deck cards. So you can kind of just put this in things or run other things around it.
Yeah. So cool. I think that he will. He certainly seems like he's going to be like a lore archetype. Like this will not be the first and last we see of him.
Yeah, I think we're gonna get more. I think we're gonna get his Virgil. We're gonna get Lady and the entire Devil May Cry cast.
Yeah, which could be kind of fun to have like a. You know how like Visas was kind of running towards the end of Branded's story, and a little bit beyond it.
Oh, you think it's that kind of a lore story?
It could be. I don't know. Maybe
the
not.
Diabellstar stuff seems so.
It still feels fairly new.
Yeah,
so.
it feels like we haven't even gotten to the point. Like, why are we looking at Diabellstar? What is going on?
Well, we know why a lot of people are looking at Diabellstar.
I mean, okay, that's true. But like, you know, so far, Diabellstar is like maybe just slightly less story than the Visas like lore was at this point. Because things are happening, but we don't know why. We have absolutely no clue.
Yeah, I really don't have like much of a clue what's even like happening within like the larger Diabellstar thing. Like I know like what she's looking for, but I don't know that she's got.
All we know is she wants sinful spoils, and she got one, and it turned into Poplar, and now everyone is taking turns stealing Poplar, and which just feels more like a Looney Tunes story than like an actual like. It doesn't sound like Albaz stuff, right?
Yeah, well, she is, you know, just what do they call her? A drunken
Leave
girl
her alone.
or whatever.
I can't stand this narrative. Y'all stop talking down on her name.
You called her that yourself once.
I was reading aloud. That's all I did.
Okay, there's one other thing. There's a Yeti. You know, I don't know if you know about the brand Yeti, Yetee. They make like shirts and stuff. No. They actually made that one cap I have that just says Yu-Gi-Oh on it. I got it from them. Well, anyway, they made a Yu-Gi-Oh hip pack. So if you like your sort of fanny packs, there's a Yu-Gi-Oh.
Why do we give these things so many names?
What do you mean?
So isn't that just a crossbody bag?
Well, some people call them a crossbody. Some people call them a fanny pack.
Yeah, like why does it have so many names?
Like, it's $50, Alec. You buy it or not?
No.
Neither am I.
For $50, you got me. Nah.
I will say this about those like sort of hip bag things. They can be nice for events.
Oh, yeah. Like, I saw Trail had one in an event. I thought that was really convenient.
Yeah, you can keep your deck and, like, maybe one other thing.
You can keep your deck close to your heart.
Yeah.
Because of the heart of cards.
So,
No, I mean I support it to an extent.
Cool.
Do I? Is it $50? I support.
$50
Let me look at it again. Let me look at it one more time.
Yeah, here.
I just want to see. Does this feel like fit? Heck no.
Yeah, well, at any rate.
But sponsor us if.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to send one over, I won't say
I'll change
no.
my answer.
Okay, there's one last interesting thing. This is the actual last thing, hopefully, maybe.
No promises.
April 1st, 2024 limit regulation announcement. So in the OCG, they got an announcement that they will get their ban list on April 1st, 2024.
That's interesting.
Or it'll be revealed on the 24th of March and will go live on April 1st. And so this isn't normally a huge deal because it's kind of an announcement of an announcement. But people have been talking about this because we have never had that in the TCG, at least since they kind of made the ban list dates.
We used to have
vague.
dates.
We used to have ban list dates, and now we don't know, and so they just kind of throw a smoke bomb at you. It's just here on it's Tuesday, what?
Paul, did you realize there are Yu-Gi-Oh players right now that don't even remember when we used to know exactly when our ban list would come out?
It's crazy to think about, isn't it? Because it's been a while since we've really had consistent ban list dates, and if you started playing this game even 5 years ago, we didn't have them.
No, it's been a while.
Yeah, so I think that this is kind of cool because it's the OCG saying, hey guys, here's when you can expect the ban list to come out, and here's when it will go live. So even though you don't have it today, you can know that this is when it will be. So,
and I do miss having hard ban list dates, but to an extent, I give Konami a little bail on this. I think that. Yeah, I think that by trying to keep to a schedule, there's a chance of having erroneous lists that just make mistakes when you're trying to keep to a date, so you want to push something out before you're truly satisfied with it.
That was always my assumption as to why they kind of stopped with the consistent ban list dates, was because if you track it backwards, I think it makes sense. At first, ban lists were March and September. 6 months apart, always March 1st, always September 1st. And you knew, and that was just how it worked. I think that they found that some formats could kind of last too long because of that. And that they would, like you said, release ban lists that were likely maybe not completely appropriate or ready at that time, but we have to release one on March 1st, because if we don't, then we won't get another until September 1st. And so I think when you look at it that way, I kind of get why Konami maybe was okay, we'll go from that to doing ban lists every 3 or 4 months. And early on during that time, they still gave the dates.
Right.
And then eventually they just moved away from any sort of guaranteed date at all. And it's just you'll get it no sooner than this date, which was an interesting wording. I guess it gave you a small bit of information. You get the guarantee that your deck is at least going to be playable until this date. And it could still be a little bit.
Bets are off after.
Yeah, after that, nothing. So,
I mean,
and now we get nothing.
Yeah, now we just.
And now it's
don't know,
the next ban list will be in a few months.
In some months, it's gonna happen.
It's like USPS tracking, right? Your package has been shipped. You'll get it when you get it. Yeah. It's delivered.
Yeah, is there?
Yeah, it's outside. It's been outside for 2 days. What, you missed it?
Oh, it's gone now.
Yeah, So I don't know. I think that they've just slowly kind of have been taking their hands more and more off the steering wheel. Not the steering wheel, but
this I think it's less rigid now, so they can be more fluid with how they hit things, when they hit things. Because there is this weird there's a timing factor to how you update this game.
Yeah.
And then there's the this kind of practical factor of some things have to get hit in order for the game to progress, but when you hit it is just as important as what you hit.
It's interesting too, because I guess Yu-Gi-Oh operates on kind of its own little internal clock. There's a new set every 3 months, and there's always going to be a nationals in the summer, and there's always going to be worlds in August, September, whatever. So certain things will kind of happen at, in a set schedule. So with the ban list not really following those schedules, but still having to kind of respect them, you release a ban list kind of knowing what the next set is. And so you maybe want to promote those cards, or you want to hit something because it's about to get something that's going to throw it, completely out of whack.
Right.
Like, there's some awareness. So I think when you look at it all in whole, I can see why they probably just chose to be like, you'll get it when you get it.
And I still think, and I don't have any proof of this, I think that they need to get multiple levels of permission in order to update our list.
I think so too, yeah.
And I think that's another reason why they've stopped having hard dates, because it's probably just very hard to get all the approvals they need in a timely manner.
Yeah, so I just thought it was kind of interesting. I know it's one of those things that, makes you kind of envious of the OCG, where like, the print quality is nicer and like rarities are better distributed, and now it's like they get to know when their ban lists are.
Their SP Little Knights don't cost over $100 a copy.
What's really upset people about that, by the way, is that SP Little Knight was released in Asian English, like in Singapore and those other regions. Like you remember the Blue Eyes White Dragon and Dark Magician structure decks that they did in Asian English. We've done a video on them. Well,
check it out.
They got Age of Overlord, and their SP Little Knights is super rare.
Yep, super rare SP Little Knights.
And they're like worth the equivalent of like $10 or something.
Well, I've since checked, because I was gonna pick me up a nice Asian English SP Little Knight to slide into my decks.
Oh, let me guess, they've probably gone up a little bit.
They've gone up in price, yes. When I checked, they were at least $30 a piece.
Okay. Now, I do wonder. I'm assuming that's probably slightly because of interest from.
I think that's purely because of interest from the West.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think I wouldn't be surprised if somebody went ahead and bought up as many of those $10 copies as they could, so that they could then sell them at a higher price.
Yeah.
And if they haven't, don't you do that.
Yeah. Although maybe. No, I don't know. I mean, listen, I think that it does show, though, that if Asian English versions of these cards, like there is an English written SP Little Knight that you can get as a super rare, like in one territory, and then like here, it's
arguably
like,
with better printing quality.
Yeah, and like here it's like a secret rare. Like, man, that really sucks. Like, come on, guys, release double rarities of it or something. I don't know. Anyway, I think that's all the Yu-Gi-Oh.
I think that is all of our Yu-Gi-Oh. I just want to draw attention to the fact that we actually now have 3 different like major Yu-Gi-Oh printings now, so that's
true.
We can actually more easily compare like the like rarity distributions and breakdowns, because like up until now it's always been like OCG versus TCG. We can't have certain things and they can.
Yeah, it never felt 1-to-1.
Now we have a third example of so there are different. So clearly SP did not have to be secret, and going forward we're going to be able to see how they print their cards, and then we can be mad at Konami for new reasons.
Yeah. It doesn't take much. I mean, that's interesting though. Like I need to find a better word than interesting. How about this? That's frustrating. Because it is like, I don't own an SP Little Knight, to be clear. I don't own one. I've never owned one. I don't plan on getting one until it's reprinted.
I want one.
So unless I mysteriously pull one in like some random Age of Overlord pack from Walmart.
Find Age of Overlord packs.
Yeah, you can't even find them.
I'm going home soon, and like there's this one spot that I'm not telling anybody that I found Age of Overlord in last time. I'm gonna go back, and hopefully they still have
me like 2 packs.
Gotcha.
I only need 2 packs. If you got me more, I won't pull anything good. If you got me 2, I might pull something good. Either way, okay, that's your frustrating but interesting Yu-Gi-Oh news of the day, eh?
Yes. Now on to other card games. Some would say better card games. Some would just say that there's different card games.
All right, well, I want to hear what you have to say about these card games.
So, DigimonCon was over the weekend.
Was that a physical event at all, or was it digital?
So, I think it was strictly digital. I don't know. It was held in Japan, but I don't know if they had a live audience. Sort of. I don't know if they did that.
So it was like a Nintendo Direct.
I mean, in a sense, for us in the West, it might as well have been. I don't know if they had a live component in Japan.
All right, go ahead.
Big live stream is the Digimon Animation's 25th anniversary. That might trigger something within you. 25th anniversary and all that.
I'll let you know your age.
But it's okay. They were disappointed too. So 25th anniversaries just suck. I don't know. So there was no new anime announcement. I just want to let you guys know that right now. No new Digimon anime. There was no new Digimon video game announcement, so you Cyber Sleuth fans and Hackers Memory fans and Digimon World Next Order fans, sorry.
So far this feels just like the Yu-Gi-Oh! 25th.
Yeah.
No new anime, no new game.
No new game. But what they did do was pretty much tell us that the Digimon TCG is carrying the franchise because all of the major announcements were just about the TCG. They announced some cool little new V pets for the 25th anniversary, but that was it.
Aren't they redoing one of the old movies?
That happened.
That's already happened?
That happened, yeah.
Oh, okay.
They didn't. There was not much on that front anymore. Okay. But we did have a bunch of TCG announcements. They formalized the whole. I talked about it before. The syncing up of the global set releases and the Japanese set releases. So now we're gonna get Digimon cards at the same time, not as the same time.
Yeah, it's like what a lot of people want for Yu-Gi-Oh! TCG and OCG.
So come 2025, we're going to have the same set releases, so we don't have to worry about cards being spoiled literally half a year early in Japan but for us.
Sorry, I normally don't like to pull my phone out during this, but I saw a really good Reddit post about this exact topic, like with the Digimon OCG syncing thing. I'm going to see if I can find it, but go on.
Okay, I'll just continue as we go. So yeah, we're also getting special boosters again in Digimon. The old school, or at least the OGs in our current Digimon TCG might remember, this game started with special boosters 1.0 and 1.5, where they kind of caught us up to where Japan was roughly when the game first started, because we started behind them. It combined the first 3 sets into 2 sets. And in this case, we're doing it again, essentially. BT 18, 19, and 20 are being turned into 2 big sets. It's going to go 2.0. Special Booster 2.0 is set 18 and half of set 19, and 2.5 is the other half of 19 and then set 20. And they're going to have some way of breaking it up where it doesn't feel like too weird, since 19 will be split in half and we'll be getting it at different times. But it's just something I've been looking forward to for a long time. We've talked about how in Yu-Gi-Oh! We can't have this. Like, there's always reasons why we can't have same-day set releases as Japan. But it feels even worse with Digimon because I don't think Bandai even really looks at our region, and I really don't think they take the same care with our side of the game as they do with the Japanese side of the game. So at least syncing up the set releases there makes me feel a little bit less frustrated.
Okay. I have found somebody posted this in our Yu-Gi-Oh!
Okay.
Yeah, somebody said that Digimon TCG will fast-track English releases so they align with the Japanese schedule. Should Yu-Gi-Oh! Abandon the separate OCG and TCG formats and make a unified game? This has kind of been an age-old question since they broke off in 2008. And so this person has this very, very long post about it. This person seems like they must be like a bit of an industry insider of some kind. Their username is Cogworks, but I thought this was a really well-reasoned post. They said, okay, so there's a reason why Bandai is doing this, and you need to take it seriously from a business perspective. And they give a set of reasons, I think 5 reasons. Number 1, marketing is important to the sale of a product. New products will sell more than old products. The fact that the OCG gets its cards 3 months in advance means everybody already knows about the product before it goes live in the West. It also means by the time your product goes live, people are already talking about the next product and interest is already dying. This wasn't a problem prior to the 2000s when we didn't have the internet. Now that we do and information spreads at light speed, it's impossible to keep things a secret for 3+ months. And so you're always selling old product in the eyes of the consumer base.
That's true.
This leads to the next problem, which is the crystal ball effect of staggered releases. Anybody who's played a gacha that has a global version separate from the original version will know what I'm talking
Granddaughter.
about. You already know what products are coming out in advance. You already have an idea of how the meta is going to develop. And this means you already know when not to pull in a new banner.
Yep.
It's great for players, but bad for business, to be honest. Why? Because less impulse buys. More information on a product means the general consensus for a product will be either pull now or wait until X and hoard resources. And if that behavior accumulates, you might be seeing customers hoarding forever because there's always something bigger on the horizon, which leads into another problem. Number 3, decreased interest in your product in general. So say you keep hoarding forever. At some point, you're going to forget why you're hoarding and turn your attention elsewhere. Or you get tired of waiting and just lose interest in the product and move on to a different thing entirely because the game feels less available. Think of it like a movie that's released abroad but hasn't dropped in your region. You already know all the spoilers because everybody keeps talking about it. You want to watch it, but it takes 3+ months for it to release, and by then the hype cycle has already moved on to something else. A significant you have something to say?
Mobile Suit Gundam.
A significant portion of that movie's potential customer base has moved on just because they were left out of the original release. This is why movie studios have increasingly tried to release movies globally across multiple regions within a single week in the internet age. You already know all the spoilers from the rumors and previews. Are you really going to wait 3 months for an overpriced release? It's why when Atlas used to do staggered releases for Persona and Megaten, it tried begging users not to post spoilers online. If it takes 3+ months for your hype product to get an official release in your region, these days 9 out of 10 times a significant chunk of people will already know the spoilers or will have just pirated it. And it leads into the standard knee-jerk reactions to try to combat this. And they also go on to talk about different game marketing, where it's like, you try to maybe do something different for the international version of the game to make it feel special, but by doing so, it kind of ends up, messing up your metagame, or like the checks and balances aren't in place because you release something in one region that kind of messes it all up.
TCG exclusives.
Yeah, and so you might have to like change mechanics or whatever to sort of try to fix it. Yeah, it was a really interesting thing, but the TLDR they released is that staggered releases don't make sense in this day and age from a product design and marketing standpoint. It's better to have a simultaneous release, which is why every video game and movie company in the world is trying to do them. Kind of makes sense why Bandai wants to sync things up as much as possible. And this is all very true, I think.
That's especially true in the Digimon card game. There's always this this kind of subtle lack of interest whenever we get new set releases in the West, because people are playing on these online simulators with the cards that are currently out in Japan. Yeah. And so they've already moved on from the formats that we're getting to play physically. It was so weird when we went to TCG Con. A set literally released that same weekend for Digimon. Yeah. And I'm talking to some of the best Digimon players around, and they're talking about the format that I'm just getting introduced to at the table in past tense.
Yeah, and it can be, and like Yu-Gi-Oh has that same issue where, like, and maybe not as much so, because actually, no, it still does. Like, people follow the OCG, they follow the OCG trends, they want to see sort of what deck is, doing the thing over there overseas, and like that lets you know what to invest in early and what to buy and what sets to skip, because like this won't make a splash. And in the internet age, we know about everything leaks.
Every single thing.
I think in the eyes of Konami and Bandai too with Digimon, they want to do this thing where they market you a new set as an isolated thing. It's the siloed product. That's right. When you buy Legacy of Destruction for the very first time in April, all of these cards are brand new to you. You've never seen any of them before, but you have. And so you kind of already know exactly whether this is going to be a good or a bad set. In fact, like this person kind of mentions, the only real thing that's exciting about the release of a new set is what will be those few like TCG exclusives or imports, or maybe like what will be the rarity ratios. Yep. But as for the cards themselves and kind of what they mean for the game, we already know. So it's a tricky proposition. I think Bandai's taking the right approach by syncing things up. I think that you'll have a lag period where it'll be a little jarring for people. Like where it's like, oh wow, the English version's got a lot of cards kind of fast.
Yeah, it's gonna speed up really fast.
And like, it feels like it's kind of ramping up. But I think once people get the hang of it, it will be for the best, I would imagine.
I think so. I do think so.
Is there any other Yu-Gi-Oh, or not Yu-Gi-Oh, but Digimon news that came out of it, like for the TCG? Or they're changing rarities?
Yeah, we're still going.
Releases.
I still got plenty more.
Oh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so they showed off the PV, their kind of a promotional video for Digimon Liberator, which is the new web comic that ties into the Digimon TCG. If Liberator is essentially the Yu-Gi-Oh version of Digimon, where instead of it being like, my name's Takato, I'm a kid that goes to school, and look, an egg came out of the sky. Instead, it's I'm insert name of protagonist. I like to play the Digimon TCG. I want to be the best card game player there is. And you're gonna go ahead. Oh, okay. Yeah, they actually play the card game. It's not a It's not, I'm a Digimon tamer. Well, you might be a Digimon tamer, but you're a card gamer first. So they're playing the TCG along with us, and then they get to go into a virtual space. And when they play the cards, the Digimon are real.
So you follow the webcomic,
and
it kind of follows the story, or it has a story that is
it
like
tells
the TCG.
it tells its own story while the characters use the cards that then we are going to open up and play as well.
Okay.
So it's a lot like when we watched Yu-Gi-Oh! For the very first time, and we're like, oh, this is so cool. I wish I had Yu-Gi-Oh! Cards. And then Star X Kaiba and Yugi came out, and we were able to use their cards.
Interesting that they went with a webcomic and not an anime for this.
Who knows?
Actually, I guess we all know. Budget.
But yeah, it sounds like Bandai and Toei and them are not feeling too confident on the franchise.
Yeah.
Sad.
I mean, it is certainly cheaper to do a webcomic.
It is. And the webcomic does look good. I can't lie.
I like the concept, though. I've said for a while, I think it'd be nice to have a Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime where, like, it's the characters in the anime are buying packs and going to card shops. And not to say that, end of the world stories can't be exciting in their own right, but like
I think this one actually does get to some
there?
end of the world.
Oh, okay, so it's a mix.
Because in the preview starts off with a card tournament where the current champion is facing off against this kind of young upstart. And he's wearing red, and he's got his War Greymon, and he gets blown out by this kind of cool looking guy wearing his blue coat, and he has his Destromon behind him that looks all menacing and powerful. And then he invites everyone to come into this new like game they're coming out with it'll be a virtual reality version of the card game they all play, which is what we've wanted from Konami forever.
Give it time. Maybe like 10 years. Yeah,
in some 10 years. But you guys can check that out. It's actually on their website right now. You can read through it. It's not long.
Okay. So will it be like releasing in like there will be like new?
Yeah, I think I forget how they said the releases will work. I'm gonna go ahead and say it releases monthly. Weekly feels too fast, but maybe it comes out every week. That'd be cool too. I mean,
it's on anime. You think it'd be a little easier to make a
webcomics typically update, every week or every 2 weeks. But since this is like a Bandai thing, I just don't know. But it starts sometime in April. It's all on the website, and you can check it out. And we're getting 2 new star decks to come with it. They're the 2 of the main characters. It features a little green birdman called Teromon and a little yellow shoe called Shoemon.
A Shoemon?
Yeah, okay. It's called Shoemon. You know what it evolves into?
What?
Shoemon.
Oh, okay, I was looking like Bootmon.
No, it becomes Shoemon.
That is interesting. It also reminded me, I don't know why this reminded me of it, that we forgot to talk about one other Yu-Gi-Oh! Story.
What?
Or it's not really a story, but somebody's Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel Midterm Destruction box order got canceled at their card shop in the EU. I know you were telling me about this earlier in the week.
Yeah.
Now, is there more Digimon, or you want to talk about this now?
I mean, we can talk about this now.
Okay, yeah. So you tell me what you saw.
So there's been a lot of discussion about the status of speed duels in the EU because there have been scattered reports of people's pre-orders being canceled or just not being able to pre-order at all. And then there were people that said, well, my pre-order went through just fine. Well, recently we got another Reddit post from someone, I think they said they're in New Zealand. They actually had a pre-order in. It has been canceled, and when pressed for information, they were told that the European region, and including New Zealand, will not be getting Speed Duel Midterm Destruction.
That's so weird. I wonder why they wouldn't release it there. Like, this is maybe a little bit of like insider info, not really, but when we went to Yu-Gi-Oh! Worlds in 2019, that was in Germany. We got to speak to a few like Konami people, I guess.
They will go unnamed.
I don't even remember the name of the guy I'm talking about in the story. Actually,
good cover. I like that.
But he was the guy who designed a lot of the Speed Duel products, at least at the time, and he was like a Konami EU employee. Now that doesn't, in the big scheme of things, that could mean nothing. But it seems interesting because it felt like kind of the Speed Duel initiative was stronger in like the EU than it was in America, at least initially. Like I saw they would do a lot more of those like Trials of the Pharaoh things, and just yeah. So I'm surprised that it seems like they might be pulling out of the EU for these products, at least in this.
What I
release.
don't understand is because see, if they want to pull out of the EU, I get it. I would get it, but they're doing it silently, and that's the part that confuses me.
Yeah. So what you saw was somebody said their pre-order got canceled, and they just didn't know. Yeah, it doesn't seem like Konami said anything about it.
Yeah,
they just aren't.
The listings on the European Yu-Gi-Oh page are just gone. Shops might think they have pre-orders for it in the EU, and they might just be finding out they don't.
Yeah, it could just be like on a shop-to-shop basis, but the fact that it's not on the website...
It sounds like pre-orders were up for this product. And so I think that's where the mixed accounts are coming from. Pre-orders were up, and you were able to pre-order, but now they're gone, and it seems that those pre-orders are not always being honored, or maybe none of them are.
Yeah.
So if you are in Europe or any region that counts as our European region, and you wanted to pre-order or did pre-order, just go ahead and double check that.
Yeah, make sure you know. I mean,
ask your shop. I don't know how your shops work over there, but ask your shop, see what's going on.
Yeah, it's like only the Americas are getting it. So I think North America and even South America, they're both getting it. It's just not the UK, Europe, or Oceania.
Which that's sad because Speed Duels needs every...
Speed Duels is everything it can get. And
they do.
Especially because like Speed Duels it's underrated. Mm-hmm. A lot of people don't know about it, or like they've heard about it and they write it off or something. But like Speed Duels are fun. Like it's to me it solves at least some of the issue that people have with Yu-Gi-Oh! And then it's like slower and easier to manage, but also like it speaks to the disenfranchised Yu-Gi Boomer crowd, right? Like where you want to play a Joey deck or whatever, or Weevil deck, and like be able to do it in a straightforward.
We made that video on APS Amplifier about wanting a casual Yu-Gi-Oh format, and in a sense, that's what Speed Duels are.
Yeah,
like
it's very chill.
It is a much more casual Yu-Gi-Oh format. It has a lot of the hallmarks that you love in formats like GOAT, and well, I guess they haven't made it to 5Ds in order to do anything Edison related, but it does have those things you would want in a more casual Yu-Gi-Oh format, but no one really plays it. Konami only kind of seems to support it. It always feels like 1 foot in, 1 foot out with them. Like, oh, we'll hold a few like Speed Duel events at YCSs, but we're not going to really push it at the store level.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they've done a better job now that they've kind of started doing the boxes, like the midterm destruction box. Like, those boxes were probably the best call Speed Duel could have gotten. Like,
I think they finally figured out a way to sell the product.
Yeah. Now, in terms of supporting the format, yeah, there's still some work to be done, but at least there is like now a product you can put on shelves. Because I remember when they were doing them as like sets.
Oh no!
Oh yeah,
don't remind me of the
sets. Those were awful. People really, that was not a good idea. We won't get into why it wasn't.
Spherica.
Yeah, like having to pull the cards. Sorry, I said I wasn't gonna get into it.
$15 Spherica, man.
Fine, we're gonna get into it a little bit. I mean, the reason they didn't work is because you're selling people old cards.
Yeah.
But that's fine to do in like this pre-sealed like box of draft kind of box. But when it's like literally selling old cards in gotcha style packs where you have to pull Sphere Karibo or pull your Twister staples or Dust Tornado. As ultra rares,
enemy controller, Dust Tornado, come on, man,
not cool.
I wonder because we were trying to build decks at the time, and there were certain staple cards like Sphere, Karibo, Dust Tornado, and stuff. And since you weren't allowed to use non-Speed Duel cards in Speed Duels, we had to try and find the Sphere Karibo for Speed Duels, and people had it nice and marked up.
Yeah, it's just like I'm not about to pay like $10, $15, $20 even for like a Sphere Karibo. It's just because you could only use the Speed Duel one.
So we dug out our normal Sphere Karibos and we just we were gonna use those, but then now it felt illegitimate. Now it just didn't feel right at all.
Yeah, because now there was a tournament you couldn't use it because it has the Speed Duel thing on it. So yeah, it feels like it's kind of rough for EU Yu-Gi-Oh right now. I know they haven't been getting like YCS events announcements for a while. I don't know what that's about.
Very strange.
Maybe it's all just a budget thing. Like, they just don't have the money. Like, I know that's like a simple excuse. Like, I'm sure it's more than that. But, like, I know that running YCS events takes some money. I know they're typically run at nearly a loss, to my knowledge. Like renting out venues, internet.
I mean, card game players aren't necessarily gonna like, make it rain inside the YCS.
Yeah. Oh, I don't even know that anything that's really done inside the YCS is money, like really in Konami's pocket outside of. I mean, you enter the event.
Oh, I guess
like
so. How would Konami make any money?
Well, you enter the event for like 20 or however much, like $22.50 now, or however much, like that amount, and you get your 5 packs. So that's kind of like them just getting a standard sale off of you of what 5 packs would cost. And there's no other guarantee of money they're getting out of you for it.
That's true.
Like you could go to vendors that are allowed to be there. So I'm assuming
and then vendors have to buy spots.
Probably
but they might be buying
spots.
them from whoever's hosting the YCS.
Yeah, if
not
somebody
necessarily
in
Konami.
the audience who's listening knows more about this process, I would love to hear more about it. Because, I mean, I know that renting out those convention centers is expensive as hell.
Oh, yeah.
And you also have to, in addition to that, you have to get the internet, you have to get security. And, I mean, plus, however it is that they're compensating judges. I don't know if that's like payment or stipends or the special mats or whatever.
Y'all get some judge packs. There you go.
But I mean, I think like there's a lot that goes into it, and my understanding of it is that they don't really they maybe barely cut even on a lot of those events. So in the EU, it might be even harder. Maybe venues are more expensive. Maybe policies are different. I just don't know. I feel bad because there have been like some fans of ours who are like in those regions, and they'll like comment on videos and stuff, and it's like, do you know anything about this situation? Like, we want YCS events and stuff. It's starting to remind me of like the situation like in Brazil. I remember when a lot of people would kind of talk about like getting products late,
and which is still going on. I mean,
which to my knowledge, yeah, I think that's still
a pain getting products down there.
But it's strange because I always thought like Europe was considered kind of one of the major regions. They get better YCS support than we get in America.
Like, I don't know,
better social media.
Maybe they blew the budget this year, which is strange because the year hasn't.
It's like March.
Yeah, like it feels weird that there might not already be no budget. But like, EU Yu-Gi-Oh players are some of the most dedicated Yu-Gi-Oh players in the business. So it's certainly strange for them being left out in the cold like this.
Yeah, apparently someone's actually made a petition for this, which is kind of funny. I mean, I think like if you were going to do a petition, that's cool.
Like a change.org?
Yeah, but I really think that you could just do like the Konami support request. Like they have it on their site.
Yeah, but no one ever knows if that actually leads to anything. I know they do look at those, but like when you send one a ticket to them, you don't feel like anything ever happens.
Yeah. So that's the story. You guys can, if anybody hears anything more or can like kind of inform on why this might or might not be. I guess we'll never know. It's Konami. They don't talk.
We won't know. We just don't.
Sorry, back to Digimon if there was anything else.
Okay, what else? Let's see. I talked about Liberators, webcomic, starter decks, Terramon, Shumon. I think that's I think that was it for DigimonCon. With the thing people really, at least on the TCG side, that we really wanted to hear about was a simulator, and we didn't get it.
Meanwhile,
I love this 25th anniversary.
Yeah, Bandai's weird about the games that get it.
Yeah, because Dragon Ball Fusion's kind of launched with one, but I mean that's weird in its own way. That's a whole other topic.
Well, speaking of Dragon Ball, I guess it's a good time to talk about the unfortunate passing of Akira Toriyama.
Yeah,
this one was a big blow. This one like had us all in shambles, and I think that for very good reason.
I mean, Toriyama's works are at the foundation of the Western experience with anime.
Yeah.
I mean, because in some regions that's different, but in the West, for the most part, Dragon Ball is the core of that.
It's like the core of anime for so many people. I mean, to the extent that there are people where like it's not even considered anime, it is considered like it's just the show everyone watched.
Like I know people who they still claim they hate anime. But they draw the line at Dragon Ball. They said that, but that's different. That's not the same.
Yeah, I mean, and there's like lots of influence of Dragon Ball in like in loads of other anime, loads of other media properties. You will find, if you look hard enough, a Dragon Ball reference, a Goku reference, a Super Saiyan reference.
You didn't even have to be into Dragon Ball to have watched way more Dragon Ball than you'd actually think that you did.
Yeah.
like just growing up, you were going to be exposed to it. It was pretty much unavoidable. And then, but Toriyama's works spread even beyond Dragon Ball.
Yeah. He worked on Dragon Quest. I know he worked on Chrono Trigger. Plenty of other things. I mean, I'm not.
He's got his works like Dr. Slump, Sandland. Sandland's near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, that's not out yet, is it? Is it like it's coming out?
So what we're getting is, I guess, the modern version of Sandland, because it's a kind of a one-shot manga that came out years ago when I was a child.
Okay.
And now it's a shame that it has to come out after his death now, because it was planned to come out while he was still living, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're getting a Sandland anime and a Sandland video game. We've already seen some gameplay from that video game, and it looks wonderful. It looks gorgeous. It reminds me of Blue Dragon.
It does, which was also, I think he did the design for Blue Dragon. And it was heavily inspired, at least.
It's certainly, I think he did the concept art. It's kind of like how he did the same thing for like Dragon Quest.
Yeah, he did a lot of the concept art for it. I know, so it's interesting because for me, like, I am not a Dragon Ball fan explicitly. Mm-hmm. However, I like a lot of things that were inspired by it. Sonic the Hedgehog, things like that.
Name 3 Dragon Ball Z characters.
I can now. Because here's why. Because I actually, in the last few years, have been watching the Dragon Ball movies that come out in theaters. Mm-hmm. We oftentimes, us and a group of our friends will usually go and see the Dragon Ball movie. So I've seen the Broly movie, and I've seen Superhero when it came out a couple years back. And I loved them both.
I did.
It's interesting. Actually, Superhero in particular, I liked it even more just because I thought that sort of 3D animation was really well done. And it made me like Piccolo and Gohan as characters.
Piccolo and Gohan.
Which I also found out that Piccolo is apparently Toriyama's favorite Dragon Ball character that he designed. Interesting.
I feel like I read that somewhere too. Piccolo is a beloved character. I want to say this because there are people that are confused. Yes, Toriyama is gone. That does not mean Dragon Ball is ending. Not even close.
Oh, I think that Dragon Ball will live on forever, kind of in the general sense. It's more than pierce the pop culture.
But also, its publication is not stopping. They might pause out of respect for his passing, but I believe the artist for the Dragon Ball Super manga, Toyotaro, something like close. That's close to his name. He is not Toriyama and will continue to draw Dragon Ball Super. And we're also getting a new Dragon Ball anime. You might remember we're getting Dragon Ball Daima.
I had not heard about this. That's interesting.
Yeah, it's just another Dragon Ball anime. Goku's being turned into a kid again, guys.
Yeah,
it feels familiar because it's happened. It's happened a few times now.
Goku's gonna stick around. I'll tell you, if there's one character who will persist.
Yeah,
it is Goku.
We keep asking, like, can Goku beat Superman? Can Superman outlive Goku?
Yeah, that's the
who's been a child more.
Yeah, who has like had their timeline reset
over and over.
But in all honesty, yes. Rest in peace to Akira Toriyama. It's kind of rough, man. We're losing the greats because Takahashi less than 2 years ago.
Now Toriyama.
Yeah, Akira Toriyama. It's rough. Like, it's rough. You're realizing. I mean, I feel like this is like really young. He's 68.
Yeah, well, not in my family. That's actually
in your family. Maybe that's old. But yeah, he was 68. Death from a brain tumor is what it was. Yeah. So, rest in peace or rest in power, perhaps some people like to say instead.
Rest in term of power.
I just want to say one last thing about this. I made a YouTube short where I was talking about how there's a Yugioh, like Yu-Gi-Oh's original manga has a Dragon Ball reference. Where like Yugi's
in the very first chapter.
Yeah, where Yugi's like kind of figuring out the Millennium Box, and he's like, trying to see what the hieroglyphics say, and he's like, oh, like maybe it says, if you solve this puzzle, you'll be granted one wish, kind of like the Dragon Balls. Mm-hmm. And I made a short on this, and someone was like, that's not a Dragon Ball reference.
Yes, it is.
And I'm like, yes, it is.
It clearly is.
What else would it be?
It very much was like. I remember reading that as a child, as a small child, when the first edition prints of the Yu-Gi-Oh manga came out in the United States. I'm talking about the gold colored ones that you can't get anymore. And if you see one as beaten up as hell, like the ones I have. But I remember reading that, and I was like, He's talking about Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
I know
it's
that.
so cool when you're like your favorite mangaka, like, you know, read and respect each other's work and like they reference each other. That's really cool.
Like that was actually a fairly common thing during that time of manga, that they'd reference and even like sometimes guest draw in each other's works. It just happened.
Yeah, there's actually a I was doing some research and I think Takahashi has drawn a Dragon Ball like kind of promotional panel, which was really cool.
I would not be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, he's done Spider-Man, he's done all kinds of things, so not a huge surprise. But anyway, just kind of wanted to dedicate, you know, a little bit to the podcast to
We lost another great one, y'all.
to another one of the greats, arguably like the GOAT. I mean, I don't
Like,
know that's
be
a competition,
careful with that word.
but like
The comments will be set ablaze.
Yeah. But I think that it would be hard to.
That's my goat, though.
Anywho, any more card
Speaking
game
of
stuff?
well, this one isn't a card game story, but it is like tangentially related, because I think this only happened because of how popular the card game is. So Toyota created a real life Pokemon motorcycle.
Oh,
So I know you didn't play a lot of Scarlet and Violet, so you might be confused on like the fusion of motorcycles and Pokemon. But Toyota has made a life-size version of Miraidon, the legendary Pokemon you ride on.
from Scarlet Violet, right?
Yes.
Interesting.
You know the purple dragon thing? It has a futuristic kind of bike shape to it.
They made this?
They
I want
made
to
one.
see.
They made
Show
one.
me the picture. I'll
Let me
put it on
pop
the podcast
it
as
open.
well. I would like to ride this. I want to ride a Miraidon.
Let me see if I can get a good picture of it. Okay, here we go. Look at Miraidon.
Oh. Huh. How much?
Now, no, you can't buy this. So,
okay. Well,
I mean, it's more of a art piece than anything else. I do think it moves. They haven't. I don't think they've at the time of this was published. We haven't seen the thing in motion, or if it even can move. I would think so. It would be weird to make a bike that can't move, but
yeah.
you know, when you make it, you're making a bike that's also a monster. I wonder if the like weight distribution.
I mean,
can
most
work.
Pokemon are symmetrical.
That is true.
That doesn't. I mean, I know there's more to.
Yeah,
the engineering than just that, but
I am going to be looking around to see if we ever get a shot of this thing moving, because I think that'll just be so much fun.
Well, kind of speaking of like Pokemon, this is sort of similar to Pokemon. Mario Day happened on March 10th.
Is that what that? Oh
Yeah,
my God, it makes so
Mario
much
Day.
sense.
You never
I did
knew.
not know why people were posting about Mario that day.
Yeah, so Mario Day celebrates Mario with a bunch of Mario announcements. So they are making Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door coming soon. It's on May 23rd.
I always thought Paper Mario had a cool style.
Yeah, Paper Mario is really
Paper.
cool. Thousand-Year Door is the one on GameCube. I didn't actually play it. I remember hearing a lot about it, and apparently it's arguably the most popular one.
Never played a Paper Mario game. I just thought it looks cool.
So yeah, I played Super Paper Mario on the Wii, and I think I played maybe like Sticker Star or something on the DS. But yeah, that's coming out. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD is also going to be coming out. Pre-orders are available in the Nintendo eShop.
See, guys, you don't need to emulate.
27th.
They're gonna re-release it for you.
Yeah, you
Full
can pay for it again.
price.
Oh yeah, it's coming out on June 27th. So that's pretty cool. 3 classic Game Boy games are coming to Nintendo Switch Online.
What are they?
They don't say what they are. I'm on the official Nintendo press release. It doesn't actually say what it is. But anyway, exciting news for Lego Super Mario.
Oh yeah, and I did see pictures of that.
Yeah, so there's like Lego Super Mario. But the most important announcement here was that they are making a new Mario movie. So you guys know the Super Mario Bros movie. Yeah, came out last year, was very popular.
Jack Black was in it.
Yeah, he was. He sang the Bowser Peaches.
Don't you dare sing it.
song.
Don't you dare.
Yeah, and so they're making a new animated film based on the world of Super Mario Bros. Shigeru Miyamoto made a surprise appearance in the video to announce that they're working together with Illumination to make this film. It's going to release on April 3rd, 2026. So a ways away.
But that's good. Movies should take a while to make.
Yeah, this is cool. It kind of reminds me that the Mario movie came out last year because it came out so early. I'd kind of forgotten a little about it.
Did they get an Oscar?
No, I don't think they did.
Come on, man.
Did you like the Mario Bros. Movie?
Yeah, I liked it.
I liked it too. I thought it was nice. It was
like, I'm glad that someone dragged me to see it because I wouldn't have gone to see it myself.
It was a very tight 90-minute kind of speed run.
It felt efficient. It didn't feel like a waste of my time. I was entertained enough to leave the movie theater like, all right, I'm glad I saw it.
Yeah, video game references everywhere. I'm interested in seeing like what they do with this one. It seems like based on the end of the first one, it'll probably involve Rosalina. Because like they're working with Illuma, and like he says something about like there's other galaxies out there.
Did they say that? Okay,
it's
cool.
like a little line.
Oh yeah, that was the depressed Illuma.
Yeah, the depressed it was more than depressed. It was like, what is the word for it? Nihilistic.
Yeah,
Luma or whatever.
Nihilistic Luma. That's what it was. I had to remember.
So I've been saying for a while now. It kind of feels like the 2020s are like the decade of like video game movies.
Who would have thought that would come back and we'd actually be happy?
Yeah, but it seems like a lot of video game movies have kind of been coming out. They've been popular. I mean, like Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is coming out like in December. So,
I forgot about too.
Yeah.
I heard good things. I heard good things.
The first one was all right. The second one was pretty good. And the third one I'm hoping will be even better. So, because I mean, I feel like movies can kind of be separated into decade like trends. Like the 2000s to 2010 kind of felt like the fantasy, like, sort of teen, young adult
Harry
teen,
Potter.
like, yeah. Well, Twilight, Hunger Games.
Oh yeah, the young adult novel movies.
Yeah, and the 2010s is like the superhero movies.
And then that ran all the way up
And
into the 2020s.
They're still running that. And so now
Into the Ground, you said, huh?
There's like good gaming movies. Into the Ground, you could say, yes. You could say.
I'm not interested until they put Shadow. So.
Yeah, I mean Shadow's in the third movie.
Okay, that's the one I'm gonna watch. I'm gonna watch that one.
So. Anyways, yeah, that's the Mario Day announcement. Nothing like super major. I mean, a lot of Mario games are discounted on the eShop and stuff. So
as they should be. I don't think they should ever
gotten rid of Yuzu. You can hop on Nintendo Switch Online and pay for these games.
I don't know how people could pay full price for a Mario game.
Well, maybe you can't, but now you can get them on discount. So very exciting Mario Day news. Back to you.
All right. So I don't even know if I want to talk about this.
Think carefully.
It's just it annoys me.
Okay.
All right. I'm gonna talk about it.
Drum roll.
So Overwatch 2.
Oh, okay.
Overwatch 2.
Okay.
Is doing their Cowboy Bebop collab.
Okay. I heard that this was happening.
So this annoys me because at one point I would have been really excited and happy. Because as you guys might already know, I was really into playing Overwatch at one point, at two different points really. I played a lot of Overwatch, and Cowboy Bebop is one of my favorite anime series of all time. I have the Blu-ray sitting in my room right now, and sometimes when I'm on trips and stuff, I just turn on Cowboy Bebop because it's the best thing I can be watching at any given moment. So. This should be joyous news for me, except I hate Overwatch 2 now. I can't stand it. I get mad whenever I see announcements about it.
Well, what's the news? Like it's just that it's happening?
So, yes, it is happening. It kicked off on March 12th. That is one day before my birthday. You know how at one point that would have felt like a birthday present to me.
Oh, playing.
Now it feels even worse.
I mean, is there anything of note?
I mean,
it's a thing.
So yeah, there's 5 characters who are being used in this update. They're getting Cowboy Bebop forms.
Okay.
So I'm trying to make sure I get this right. So Sombra is Ed, Cassidy is Spike Spiegel, Ash is Faye Valentine, Mauga is Jet Black. And Wrecking Ball, I don't actually know. I don't know who Wrecking Ball is. Wrecking Ball is an iconic Cowboy Bebop character. I was scanning the article to try and quickly find it. I did not find it. But Wrecking Ball is also a Cowboy Bebop character, in case you're interested. Paul, have you seen Cowboy Bebop?
I haven't actually.
That is a shame. That is a shame.
I have to change that.
Like, you shouldn't see it because of Overwatch. I would never suggest that, but you should see it in general.
I'd like to watch Cowboy Bebop.
Wonderful.
I know there's the guy who is always smoking the cigarette.
He does smoke. He does iconically smoke.
I see him.
I think a lot of kids blacken their lungs because of that anime.
Yeah, I know. I've seen him. There's the guy who smokes a cigarette. There's like a girl in a bodysuit sort of thing. Like, she looks like a space kind of cowboy girl.
I think you're thinking of Faye and
Valentine.
Valentine.
Okay,
She certainly wears an outfit.
She wears an outfit.
There's clothes on there.
And I know there's a guy who looks like the blacksmith from the Shield Hero anime.
Jet, yeah.
Okay.
It's the big guy, Heart of Gold.
Kind of old guy. Okay. Yeah, I've seen those three characters.
And then there's Ed, who wasn't in the live action.
Wait, isn't the dog from there? Is there a dog from Cowboy Bebop?
Yes, there is.
Is that Ein?
It is. Well, not Ein, but no, Ein.
Ein?
I get Ein and Zwei confused.
Okay.
Zwei is the one from Ruby.
Yeah, we have an Ein dog.
We do have an Ein. Is it still on the fridge?
I think so.
I put it on the fridge it feels like years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So I've seen
guys.
That much. I know that.
That's his experience with Cowboy Bebop. Yeah, guys, if you are unluckily playing Overwatch 2, go ahead and hop in there and play the Cowboy Bebop expansion. Tell me how excited you are and how much
is there
fun
like a
you're
game
having.
mode with it, or is it just literally they're just skins?
It's skins. Let's see. I don't know if there must be some type of a game mode, probably some kind of story-esque thing going. Remember the story mode they promised us and didn't deliver on?
Maybe it's time to move on to the story.
Fine.
No, that's up to you. Hey, you can go off.
Let's get mad about Overwatch.
Well, in other gaming news, here's a kind of sad one.
What you got?
Multiple indie devs blindsided after multi-year passion projects get immediately buried by EA's Command & Conquer Steam onslaught.
Oh?
Yeah, so I would click the story and read it if it would load.
Story of my life.
What the heck? Why is this not... Just a moment. EA Steam launch. No, okay. I can summarize the story while I'm looking for it. So basically, indie devs who list their games on Steam and stuff. EA just dumped a bunch of new games on Steam, kind of re-released some old games or whatever, and they pushed everything down off the Steam front page.
Oh.
Yeah, I know I can find this.
Steam is the home for indie games.
Yeah. So, on March 7th, EA shadow dropped a host of classic PC games on Steam, including pretty much the entire Command & Conquer series. That's good news, unless you're one of the indie devs who released a game the very same day and suddenly had to compete with decades worth of nostalgia and amid the notorious whims of the Steam algorithm. One of the affected titles was Potions: A Curious Tale, which is a cozy adventure and crafting game about a witch and her potions. The developer says, "My indie game I worked on for 10 years was immediately bumped off of new and trending by EA spam releasing 11 titles at once. All the built-up marketing and momentum squashed in an instant." So yeah, it's notoriously difficult for a game to stand out on Steam, but one of the ways for an indie to get noticed is through its placements on the platform's new and trending tab.
I do always check that when I log into Steam.
That front page section highlights new releases that have achieved some degree of popularity, effectively filtering out those games you might ungenerously refer to as Steam trash. The hentai puzzle games and the like.
I see those all the time. They don't filter them out well enough.
Yeah, so, getting shoved out of that tab dramatically decreases your game's visibility in the crucial early days after launch, and Gittins noted that she, quote, would have avoided this date like the plague if EA's releases were announced ahead of time. So, this is my dream game, and I didn't cut any corners. So, yeah, she worked really hard on this game, and apparently there are other indies like it, and basically EA just dumps a bunch of old games that are being re-released.
It's rough.
And pushes them out of the kind of front page. It's really rough. It's definitely, indies have it rough. The gaming industry in general has already, got it rough, but...
it feels bad, but it's kind of and I hate to say it, like, that's just the game. Like,
Yeah.
it's Steam didn't sabotage you, and EA didn't even purposefully sabotage you. You couldn't have known. It's just bad luck.
It's bad luck, yeah. It sucks. I think it would have been good if Steam, or if like EA just made it known what, because like she said herself that like if she had just known the date that this was going to happen, then they could have launched a week later or a week earlier or something. But EA didn't. Apparently, this was a shadow drop thing.
I mean, but that also could have been part of EA's like marketing strategy for this. They wanted it to be a shadow drop. And EA doesn't have any responsibility for smaller companies. They only care about their own company and their own game sales and their own marketing. They don't have a responsibility to make sure that they don't affect indie developers. It would be nice, but they don't.
This is apparently Potions was not the only indie game to have been handed a very bad launch day by EA's shadow drop. Throwback action platformer Berserk Boy, a game I've played and enjoyed for its efforts to improve on the likes of Mega Man and Sonic with Metroidvania elements, also launched on March 7th after 5 years in development and got kicked off the front page amid the EA onslaught. According to the game's Twitter account, this first week hasn't really been the smoothest of launches. Berserk Boy was knocked off the new and trending with EA's game dump. A few other choice quotes include, "Yeah, this hurts," crying emoji, and "maybe I'm just cursed." Now, Gittins, who, she was the first girl that we talked about, she says, "I don't think EA is out to get me," Gittins acknowledged. "This was just horrible timing and luck." So,
that's rough.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
I mean, but I'm going to say on the bright side, this is actually just another side. I mean, there are multiple avenues of marketing that must be done with games. They haven't been murdered here, right? They've taken, it's a big setback. It's a setback, that's for sure.
Because, I mean, like, if you're an indie game, like, your marketing budget's not going to be super high.
It won't be.
And, like, you can't recapture a first day of release type of thing.
Unless you're multiverses.
More Overwatch. I think that something that might be nice, though, for Steam to do is, like, games should be categorized. Because it sounds like these are just re-releases, these games. These Command and Conquer games, like these old PC games that are being re-released. I think that that should be, like, categorized, right? Where, like, if it's, like, a re-release, it can't be on, like, new and trending.
But it is new on Steam.
But it is, like, new and trending on Steam. But, like, maybe it'd be nice if there could be, like, some sort of a distinction. Just so that it doesn't, like, knock an actually new, like, I don't mind there being a tab for, like, cool re-releases or whatever, cool classics and stuff. It's just that maybe, hey, I
do think that Steam probably just needs to have a spot on the homepage, not shoved off to the bottom or away somewhere, but I mean on the very front page when you load up Steam, there should be a section for indie games, and so that EA, any other large studio or publisher can't just drop their big budget or remakes and just knock all the indie games off. They should have a spot.
They dropped like a dozen at once.
And it's just a volume play. Even if those games don't catch a lot of attention, that volume will shove a lot of people out.
Things out. It reminds me of how, and I guess there's a broader conversation to be had. I'll touch on it briefly around just kind of the algorithmic world that we live in. Mm-hmm. Like everything, all of the things you discover are kind of just, it's algorithm based, right?
Yep.
I think of how stores and like little mom and pop shops have to fight tooth and nail for like positive reviews on Google.
Right.
And really try their hardest to like, get negative reviews corrected, retracted, whatever, like reach out to the person and try to see if they can make it right, because getting even like 1 or 2 negative reviews on Google knocks you down on that sort of algorithmic totem pole where like your restaurant or store or whatever won't get recommended when people type in like places to eat near me. And it just, algorithms have like their place. Like they can be really useful. It curates, the trash from the treasure, so to speak.
And the algorithm owes you nothing. It doesn't believe in your store. It doesn't believe in your story. It's just trying to serve the best results, like, relevant to
what
people.
What it deems to be at least that. But it is a little rough. It's like, but then I guess like to kind of go a little more maybe to your point too, it's like, well, without the existence of kind of the new and trending page, a lot of these indie games might never have gotten discovered. So it's not the trending page's fault. It really is like EA for just dumping this all at once with no forewarning. That's pretty rough. But even then, it's like EA.
It's
I don't
not
think
EA's
that they
fault.
did that.
It's Steam's fault.
Okay.
Steam knows that they are the haven for indie game devs.
Yeah.
There should be there should be a spot on the homepage because
that's
because they're talking about they want to be on the new and trending list, and that's fair. I check that new and trending list all the time, but before I even go there, there should be a spot for new and popular indie games.
Yeah,
because that's a cornerstone of Steam. That is how a lot of developers get their starts in this industry. They should not be able to get knocked off by just anybody's AAA game or just any like large publisher's game dump because they can. Like Steam they need to do better. That's something that didn't have to happen.
It didn't. I agree. That really sucks. Hopefully you guys can check out some of those games on Steam. It would be nice. I might actually have to give them a look now because I didn't know until I read this story. But I mean, I would at least like give it a crack.
And I'm a slight hypocrite because I don't play indie games, but
I mean,
I still feel things.
Well, the thing is, like, I think everybody doesn't play indie games. It's almost part of the appeal of the indie is that it's not played by a lot of people, but that when you do find the like one or two that stick out, then you might play that, and it could sort of change your opinion on it. Anywho, back to you.
All right, so we're gonna run to the MCU here.
Are we?
Yeah, because we're gonna make fun of the MCU.
Oh.
So WandaVision fans poke fun at spin-off series ever-changing titles. So you might be familiar with WandaVision.
Yeah.
But do you know about Agatha?
No. I mean, I know it's coming out. Wait, it wasn't that? It was not canceled. I thought it was supposed to be out.
No, it's still coming out.
When?
Who knows? Let's see. So, since this spin-off series was announced in November 2021, it has had at least 4 different titles.
Agatha has?
Agatha.
Okay.
So, when WandaVision ended, they told us to stay tuned for Agatha, House of Harkness.
Okay.
Her name is like Agatha Harkness. House of Harkness sounds like House of Darkness. Nice play on words.
Fun.
Well, later they told us to stay tuned for Agatha, Coven of Chaos. Or Coven of Chaos, because like she seemingly she raises like a coven of witches or something. She's a witch. That coven, cool. And then they were like, stay tuned for Agatha, Darkhold Diaries. They were shopping names in real time with like not with a test group, but with the entire internet.
World, yeah.
And
is that its most recent name? No, oh boy.
So the most recent name that we got to see is Agatha.
Oh, it's just Agatha.
Yeah, it's
that's
Agatha.
Currently what it is.
That is the name we're running with right now. Is Agatha.
It reminds me a lot about like the MCU's just their very real time kind of workshopping approach.
They're just trying to figure things out.
I know, like they renamed, what was it? Captain America: New World Order. And that got renamed.
Oh yeah, that did get
to like
renamed.
Brave New World, which I think sounds more optimistic and positive.
New World Order sounds.
Yeah, it sounds a little dark, but I mean that could have implied a cool movie, like a really dark, heavy movie. But either way, yeah, they changed that. I mean, I know like projects get canned all the time and pushed back.
And we know the MCU is going through a bit of a transition right now. I think they know what they want to do now, and so they're kind of changing their projects, even if they were started in when was that 2021.
Yeah, a lot of reshuffling. I still don't even know what Agatha is, but that's because I don't know enough about, I guess, WandaVision.
Yeah, she's literally only in that work.
Well, I will be trying to watch whatever this Agatha show ends up being called. To learn a little bit more about her.
I think that's going to be its final name is Agatha. I think the subtitle thing will be used for the episode titles.
That'd be cool. So, since we're just on the topic of Marvel, I don't know if you had another Marvel story.
No.
No? Okay, well, here's some like kind of, I guess, Marvel adjacent news. They announced Venom 3. if you're into that. Yeah, so Venom 3, what is the name for it that they have? Venom: The Last Dance.
Oh, thank God, it's the last one at
That's what
least.
they're calling
Okay,
it.
cool.
So there's going to be another Venom movie this October 25th.
Oh, okay. We're gonna get it out the way. We're gonna get it out the way this year. Okay. Well, it makes me a little nervous. Oh God.
So, I mean, thoughts? You interested? You said was it Eddie Brock?
Yeah, Eddie Brock. You
didn't care too much for these Venoms?
I mean, I liked Venom 1. I could not stand Venom 2. And at the rate we're going, I guess that means Venom 3 is going to make...
Trajectory's maybe going to be worse.
I remember while watching Venom 2, I wanted to walk out the theater. That's how dissatisfied I was with that movie. I wanted to leave before it was over. And then once it was over, I was kind of mad I didn't.
What about it did you not like? If you even remember, I know it.
So, I've only seen it the one time. I did not want to revisit the movie. But I could not stand the way they handled Cletus Cassidy Carnage, the way he was introduced, his motivations or lack thereof. It was I didn't care at all for how they worked Carnage. And what made me the most upset was I didn't feel like a true sequel to the first Venom. It felt like they completely changed directions in how they characterized Venom and Eddie. I mean, they are separate characters. Their relationship was different. The way they acted was different. And it didn't feel like one of those things where they grew between the movies. Like, oh, we're different. We've grown into like different people. It just felt like they were completely different people. It didn't feel like they grew into that at all. And they kind of made Venom out to be more of a joke. The Venom at the symbiote, they kind of made him to be more of a joke when, the Venom symbiote is this primal being that if you feed it the right emotions can either protect you or eviscerate you.
Venom didn't feel
venomy,
scary.
It didn't act
or potent, threatening.
They made Venom out to be a bit of a joke, and I didn't care for that. And then I just did not like the way they handled Carnage. Now, the actor and the Carnage character was just as crazy and murderous as it was supposed to be. Just like how they tied that all in there. It didn't feel natural. It didn't feel right. It felt like it was it felt like it was early. Because we're on Venom 2, and you're already introducing another symbiote who's his son.
Yeah.
It just felt like a gross step forward when we don't have a Spider-Man yet.
Yeah. Oh, do you think Spider-Man will be in this one?
I don't know.
I feel like it would have to be, given that this is sounding like it's the final Venom movie.
He probably is. And maybe I would have wanted that out of Venom 2, but now I'm at the point where I wished that Venom 3 didn't exist. Even though I do like Tom Hardy and I like Venom as a character, it's just I'm glad they say The Last Dance.
Yeah. Well, I remember I have not seen Venom 1. I watched Venom 2. I didn't care too much for it. It kind of just... It's not that I hated it. I just kind of wasn't super into it. I also wasn't sure what the relationship between the characters was. I guess Venom is sort of a companion, but he or it never felt...
I think...
particularly threatening. It was kind of weird. I had that sort of random thing where they were like, you hurt my feelings. I'm not talking to you anymore. That was kind of his thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, they leaned into this idea that Eddie and Venom have a relationship, almost like in a romantic sense, and that one could be like a jilted lover, that they could just hurt each other's feelings, and they could be arguing, and but that's usually more of subtext in the Venom Eddie relationship. That's usually not the clear primary story driven force.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot more in the first Venom movie where Eddie was just struggling to coexist with this being, that Venom would take very extreme measures to protect Eddie, and then Eddie would get mad at him, and he'd be like, whoa, why are you mad at me? Now I'm getting mad because you're mad. I tried to help you out. And Eddie's like, yeah, but you killed someone.
Okay.
There was a seriousness to the relationship that was completely lost in Venom 2. I felt like they wanted that MCU jokiness, And look, but you're not telling a Spider-Man story. You're telling a Venom story.
Yeah, I get you. I mean, I guess I didn't know enough about the foundation of Venom to be able to really judge. I just didn't find myself super into the movie very much.
And they've also made Eddie Brock too much of a good guy. Like Eddie Brock in the comics and in the cartoons, he starts off as a villain. He's not a nice guy. He's a bad guy who then he learns to get over himself, and then he becomes a good guy later. But they kind of skipped that and just said, "Oh, Eddie's a good guy who just makes some bad decisions."
Well, speaking of Sony Marvel Spider-Man adjacent movies that have flopped, Dakota Johnson angers Madam Web bosses for, quote, dragging the Marvel flop and failing to take any responsibility for its poor box office performance after saying she understands why it bombed. So, the $80 million budget film took a worldwide tally of $51.5 million in its opening weekend. And the actress, 34, Dakota Johnson, claims that she understands the disastrous failure of the Sony movie. Now, this is just a rumor, apparently, but yeah, some Sony execs are not happy that basically Dakota Johnson has kind of gone out on her own and said, I didn't watch the movie, and I see why people don't like it, and she's kind of blamed, corporations and higher-ups and, marketing teams for making decisions that led to an underwhelming movie. And we know that the Madam Web movie was, A, not well received.
Nope.
And B, was said to have gone through a lot of, revisions, reshoots, redub-overs, story changes. Now Dakota is reportedly being accused of dragging the film and failing to take any responsibility after admitting she hadn't seen the film herself and making several damning statements about the production. Lots of people at Sony are questioning her star power, and how she reacted to this failure will likely come back to haunt her.
Yeah, so that sounds like a threat against a woman if I ever heard one.
Yeah, but, so if you are,
All right, I'm just going to come out and say it. I mean, Dakota Johnson is right. I've said it many times, and I'll say it again. Corporations shouldn't make movies. I think artists should make movies. Directors should make movies. But clearly, Madam Web was not a work of art. It was a work of corporate America. Because I remember in one of her interviews, she talked about how it was committees that made decisions for Madam Web.
Here's
and
her quote.
Things are.
If you want the quote, actually, because that very same quote you're talking about.
Okay.
It's so hard to get in movies, and in these big movies that get made, it's even starting to happen with the little ones, which is what's really freaking me out. Decisions are being made by committees, and art does not do well when it's made by committee. Films are made by a filmmaker and a team of artists around them. You cannot make art based on numbers and algorithms. My feeling has been for a long time that audiences are extremely smart, and executives have started to believe that they're not. Audiences will always be able to sniff out bullshit. Even if films start to be made with AI, humans aren't going to want to fucking see those, she continues. So he then talked about the experience herself. She says she's not done a film quite like Madam Web.
She hasn't. I checked her IMDb. She has definitely not.
Yeah, she says, but it was definitely an experience for me to make that movie. I'd never done anything like it before. I probably will never do anything like it again because I don't make sense in that world. And that I know now. I mean,
because, when you're working on these superhero movies, it's kind of like nothing else you could work on.
They say that, they're pretty rough because it sounds like they're very strict about kind of how they want stories to go, characters to go, characters to be shown, the marketing around it. It's very strict, and it's also, like she says, I think with Marvel movies and the Marvel adjacent ones, it's decided by a committee, by what maybe an AI dictates would be the most popular way for this character to be portrayed or for the story to play out. And,
allegedly.
And, it kind of brings me back to, the Agatha thing, where, we will dynamically change the name of this show every, year or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's not even out yet. We will change the name of it in order to, what will resonate best with the audience, and that is what we will go with. Whatever will, mathematically resonate.
And that's weird because, typically with the movie, it's made by a filmmaker and their team. It's usually, a small team of people.
Yeah.
And they have a vision, and they chase that vision, and that's what they make. If there are reshoots or rewrites, it's because it doesn't line up with their vision. It's not because all of a sudden we got new polling numbers and this tests better with the X demographic more than that.
I remember hearing that about like Ant-Man, like last year or whatever, where like they were like, yeah, we changed the ending to Ant-Man, like was changed like 2 weeks before it hit theaters because this ending like tested a little better with audiences, and so like the entire fates of characters were kind of just portrayed differently. It really can feel like it's a little soulless, like it's entertainment literally for entertainment's sake. Like we don't care if there's meaning to the work so much as we just want what our marketing department has kind of deemed we think will like work best.
I think movies and I think all art should be selfish.
Yeah.
I think art should be the artist's perspective selfishly forced in front of you. And then you get to say whether you liked their perspective or you didn't.
Yeah.
But that's all it should be. I don't think an artist should ever try to make work that appeals to like you. They should make what appeals to them.
Yeah, and then whether or not you like it is up to you.
And if you like it, cool. It all worked out. If you didn't, oh well. Like,
yeah, I think that's true. I mean, I feel like with the Madam Web movie, it was. I'm not gonna go out here and say it was a good movie, and I don't think that it was. I didn't find her performance in it to be bad, not to me anyway. But like, it's more so just that there were a lot of missteps with the movie that I think you can see some obvious parts where like story seemed cut or rushed or like things were redubbed over. And I even get the impression, I know like there was a lot of talk about, oh, you see the girls who are like kind of in the cool spider outfits and they're fighting, and that's what they show in a lot of trailers, and in the movie that's not.
It's really
at all what it is.
Just that.
But it makes you wonder, maybe there at some point they intended for it to be that, and then maybe due to budget cuts or some other kind of oversight changes by a committee.
I think Madam Web lost the plot.
Yeah.
I think by the time Madam Web was done, Madam Web had no idea why it existed.
Yeah, and it's so it's kind of tragic to me because when I look at like Venom and Madam Web and Morbius, which was just a complete train fire, right? It seems like they can't nail these like Spider-Man spin-off movies, and it's so weird because like Spider-Man itself, the movies are great and they're fantastic and people love them, but then just like the moment that they do anything else in that universe, are they picking bad?
They fall apart. They go to shambles.
Yeah, I just don't know what goes on with that.
But I mean, it makes some sense. I mean, Tom Holland's Spider-Man was co-created and like produced with Marvel, Marvel Studios. The people who created the MCU, who created the superhero wave that we've all gotten kind of tired of at this point, but they knew what they were doing. Sony has kind of never known.
Yeah. So that was just an interesting thing. It sounds like she might be in some hot water for being outspoken and truthful about her opinions on the movie she was in.
It sounds like one of those things where they'll try and blackball her and she won't be able to get any big work.
Now, hopefully it might just be a rumor.
And it could just be a rumor.
Hopefully it's just a rumor.
And and that was in a space that Dakota Johnson does not typically even perform in. So I imagine she'll just go back to doing the types of jobs that she normally does, which are more dramatic, more less fantastical.
Yes. Well, back to you.
So I finally have some AI news that makes me happy.
Do you?
Mm-hmm.
Let's hear it.
So Europe's world first AI rules are set for final approval.
Oh, interesting. All right.
Yeah. So let's see. European Union lawmakers are set to give final approval to the 27-nation bloc's artificial intelligence law Wednesday, putting the world-leading rules on track to take effect later this year. Lawmakers in the European Parliament are poised to vote in favor of the Artificial Intelligence Act 5 years after they first proposed it. The AI Act is expected to act as a global signpost for other governments grappling with how to regulate the fast-developing technology. And then let's see. So how does the AI Act work? Like many EU regulations, the AI Act was initially intended to act as a consumer safety legislation, taking a risk-based approach to products or services that use artificial intelligence. The riskier an AI application, the more scrutiny it faces. Low-risk systems such as content recommendation systems or spam filters will only face light rules, such as revealing that they are powered by AI. The EU expects that most AI systems fall into the low-risk category, so, not much regulation. High-risk uses of AI, such as medical devices or critical infrastructure like water or electrical networks, face tougher requirements, like using high-quality data and providing clear information to users. So there'll be more like forced transparency and a lot of like checks and balances with things dubbed as higher risk. Some AI uses are banned because they're deemed to pose an unacceptable risk, like social scoring systems that govern how people behave. Some types of predictive policing and emotion recognition systems in school and workplaces.
That sounds scary.
So though that ban section is a lot of like science fiction.
Yeah,
a lot of
1984.
A lot of like Blade Runner. A lot of just
your entire life is completely
like those
like
scary
surveillance, scrutiny.
Those types of things.
They always know.
They're gonna go ahead and ban those off rip. And it says other banned uses include police scanning faces in public using AI-powered remote biometric identification systems, except for serious crimes like kidnapping or terrorism. So that's it's gone again, folks.
Okay, I tried.
But now that's one that's come up many times in the media about police like scanning your face, like facial recognition software using AI.
Yeah.
People are terrified of that. Because your identity, they're not. No one's supposed to be able to know your identity without seeing like your ID or some type of like hard verification. But the police can just get a shot of you on camera,
and they can just match it to kind of.
They can match it and
reconstruct.
And then the one thing that makes people uncomfortable is how do you verify that if they catch you on camera and they say you committed a crime and they're like, because the AI said so, it's like,
do you get to really
do I get to fight against that? Like, is that just considered evidence now? Well, at least in the EU, they're saying that you can't even use that sort of thing unless it's something very serious like kidnapping or terrorism. So just be careful if you resemble any kidnappers or terrorists.
Yeah. Or if you're, planning on those things, don't do them.
So the obvious question, what about generative AI?
What do they say about this?
The law's early drafts focused on AI systems carrying out narrowly limited tasks like scanning resumes and job applications. The astonishing rise of general-purpose AI models, exemplified by OpenAI's ChatGPT, sent EU policymakers scrambling to keep up. They added provisions for so-called generative AI models, the technology underpinning the AI chatbot systems that can produce unique and seemingly lifelike responses, images, and more. Developers of general-purpose AI models from European startups to OpenAI and Google will have to provide a detailed summary of the text, pictures, video, and other data on the internet that is used to train these systems, as well as follow EU copyright law. That sounds like an immense workload right there, because
they're trying.
They scan like the entire internet for those to train these things.
Yeah.
AI-generated deepfake pictures, video, or audio of existing people, places, or events must be labeled as artificially manipulated, which I think is important. I know they can do that with large companies, AI AI systems, but those kind of smaller ones.
I feel like when it gets like scrappy and on the ground,
that's harder to regulate.
Yeah. There's
extra scrutiny for the biggest and most powerful AI models that pose systemic risks, which include OpenAI's GPT-4, its most advanced system, and Google's Gemini. Yeah. So if GPT-4 and Gemini are getting a hard look from the EU.
Have you heard about? We didn't talk about Project Sora on here. I realized.
I don't know what that is.
Okay, well, Project Sora actually released a few weeks ago. It's the AI video generating tool. It was all over Twitter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm surprised we didn't talk about it on the pod, but where like they can generate very realistic video based on prompts, and it's like frighteningly good, but also has a lot of clear weaknesses.
Was the video you sent me of Sonic from that?
No, that was like a weird bad GIF from years ago. But no, this is like a realistic. It can generate like very realistic looking video, and obviously like it still sometimes has issues with like legs moving the right way and kind of stuff like that. But the big thing is that it feels like it's gonna probably like kill stock photography, like stock video sites where you kind of film just stock video like drones of a cliff at the seaside or whatever. Like it can generate stuff like that.
And that's a shame because like stock photography like that, it's hard to get and it can be expensive to get it. And if an AI can just
those jobs are gonna be but either way, back to what. That's just it's like a scary thing because you're kind of mentioning GPT-4, like Google Bard. I know now like a lot of other sites are.
So as far as like generative AI goes, it says companies that provide these systems will have to assess and mitigate the risk, report any serious incidents such as malfunctions that cause someone's death or serious harm to health or property, put cybersecurity measures in place, and disclose how much energy their models use. So right now, as far as generative stuff goes, they don't have firm regulations in place for it,
but they're at least aware.
They're aware, and they're hoping that large companies will at least self-report and self-govern themselves openly, so that the EU can like catch up and try to put something more firm in place. And as far as do these rules influence the rest of the world? So
I think indirectly they'll have to.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So AI regulations were first suggested in 2019, taking a familiar global role in ratcheting up scrutiny of emerging industries while other governments scramble to keep up. In the U.S., President Joe Biden signed a sweeping executive order on AI in October that's expected to be backed up by legislation and global agreements. In the meantime, lawmakers in at least 7 U.S. states are working on their own AI legislation. Chinese President Xi Jinping has proposed his global AI governance initiative, and authorities have issued interim measures for managing generative AI, which applies to text, pictures, audio, video, and other content generated for people inside China. Other countries, from Brazil to Japan, as well as global groupings like the United Nations and the Group of 7 industrialized nations, are moving to draw up AI guardrails. So many countries are also doing their own thing. The EU seems they're going to be the first ones to the punch here.
Typical, yeah.
And I think from their rules, everyone else will kind of like, we'll add all that in too, and then we're going to add our own little spice to our own regulations as well. Depending on what these nations think is the most dangerous part of AI.
Here's a fun question. What do you think is the most dangerous part of AI? I'll also answer as well.
So,
like, because there are so many different applications of it. There's algorithms, there's recognition software, there's generating pictures or images or just generating text. Like, what do you think is the most dangerous?
I think the most dangerous use of AI is its use to replace the need for human input, which is its base use, and that's kind of the problem. Its most basic use is to make tasks that we would have to do easier. They would automate them and do it themselves.
Yeah.
But we have since like expanded what all that can be, because the generative stuff is what I find the biggest issue, because they are finding ways to replace the need for human imagination and creativity.
Yeah.
When we were talking about just replacing the need for human manpower, like less typing, less lifting, less moving.
Yeah.
But now we're talking about less thinking, and that worries me.
Less creating. Yeah, for me, I think the scariest part is just I think of stuff like deepfakes and that sort of area where like it's just being able to replicate, a person's likeness and have them like speak in video.
Yeah, I think
have them, because I mean, when you think of like you could just make this video. Like people do these little jokes where it's like Trump, Biden, like play Master Duel or whatever with like the automated voices and all that. But like I'm talking, when you have a presidential candidate or the president themselves in like a video and they're claiming something that isn't true, but it looks very realistic. And that stuff gets shared. And like, we all know how like our parents and stuff, they're gullible. They're on these websites, they see stuff. Like you can
Mom and Dad, I don't think you're gullible.
You can really, people will believe anything. Like, maybe someone like who's younger can kind of question stuff, or like, oh, something about this doesn't feel right, or like where it's coming from, where the information's coming from in the video. But like, I know that like a lot of people just from like, say, like my small hometown who aren't, super tech savvy, or just they're older or whatever, they'll believe stuff in a heartbeat, and like they'll cite that as real, like their truth.
Right.
Biden said this, Trump said that, or it doesn't have to be like them. It could be any celebrity, anybody, So that stuff really worries me, because I've seen in my own like just personal life with like friends and stuff, the amount of people who will like and share and like comment on these AI pictures that you'll see on Facebook, where it's like, oh, look at these like cute kids wearing these different clothes or whatever, and the comments are like, oh my god, it's so adorable. It's like, no, but they have 6 fingers and they're all like AI generated, and it's like weird. But to the like 60-year-old woman on Facebook, that's so adorable and cute. And like you could say, well, what's the harm, right? She's seeing things
that
she
might not have
likes.
been AI. They could have been from Alabama. I'm just saying, like,
Oh, jeez. I mean,
yeah. Hey, I'm not trying to take shots at y'all from Alabama. Y'all know how it is.
wow. But like people, they'll see these things and like they won't know, like they won't question. I don't know. I mean, so that's my.
I mean, that is the most practical danger, and I think that's what motivates governments the most. Is like the deep fakes, the audio, the video, the pictures. That worries them the most, because for people in power, that is the scariest thing.
Yeah.
The fact that they can get deep fake, that someone can create evidence where there wasn't some evidence, that there can be manipulation that they are not ready to deal with. I see how that would worry governments, and I think that's really what's motivating them to make these regulations. I think they should be more worried about the more.
So you're a little more concerned about like kind of human jobs and stuff, and just human creativity being replaced.
Yeah, I think people should be more worried about the toll this will take on the human mind. Valid. When as we start to tell people, oh, but you don't have to think so hard. The AI will do it for you. Like, yeah, we need to make a new company banner, guys. Any ideas? Never mind. AI, click the button. Yeah, we just
We'll generate like 5 for us, and we'll pick one.
As we get used to relying on technologies like this, we're gonna use our brains less and less.
Well, you'll be happy to know I brought an AI story as well.
What you got?
So Midjourney debuts feature for generating consistent characters across multiple generative AI images.
Remind me, Midjourney is the text to picture, right?
Yeah, text to image. There are also other ones like Stable Diffusion, stuff like that. I'm not an expert in that, but anyway. So the popular AI image generating service Midjourney has deployed one of its most often requested features, the ability to recreate characters consistently across new images. This has been a major hurdle for AI image generators to date by their very nature. So as you know, you can type in a prompt, girl with pink bow in her hair, and like brown-haired girl with pink bow in her hair, and blue eyes, whatever. And it'll generate several different ones, but whatever you generate, whatever character or person that you are generating in this image can never be like replicated truly. Each new AI image will be like just slightly different. She might be wearing a slightly different kind of design on the shirt or hair or whatever, right?
Different shade of pink.
Kind of different shade of pink, different nose shape, something like that. And so that's always made it, I guess, difficult for somebody who wants to use AI to maybe storyboard a film or like a comic book or some other visual medium where you want the same character or characters to move through it and appear in different scenes, settings, just with different facial expressions and props. Well, it's been typically very difficult to achieve, but Midjourney is now taking a crack at it, introducing a new tag, CREF, like -CREF, which stands for character reference, that users can add at the end of their text prompts in the Midjourney Discord, and will try to match the character's facial features, body type, and even clothing from a URL that the user pastes in following said tag. So as the feature progresses and is refined, it could take Midjourney further from being a cool toy or ideation source and into more of a professional tool. So it works best with previously generated Midjourney images. And then in the article, they kind of go on to sort of show an explanation of it with this man that they made or whatever.
Is that what about with copyrighted material?
Don't know. No mention of that. But at least as of now, it seems like it works best when it generates a new character, and then now you can just take the character that Midjourney generated, and now show that character.
Or at least that's how they would want you to use it.
Ideally, that's what they're saying.
If I give them a URL to Goku, does that mean they're more likely to spit out more images of Goku? Because if I remember correctly, Midjourney should discourage the creation of copyrighted characters.
Too much. So yeah, that's a cool new feature you can use if you're on Midjourney. Yay! Now, okay, looking at it, I'm gonna try to give it some bail here, just a little bit. It's neat if you are the type of person who uses AI for your ideation. It's great that you can kind of have the same character shown multiple times. As features for feature's sake go, that is a useful development. Mm-hmm. That's the nicest thing I can say about it, but it's a useful development. AI was not previously able to do this. Now it can.
See, I would like to see this as a standalone software, a standalone piece of software that is meant for storyboarding ideation, where it specifically only does that. You generate a character, and then it automatically references that character and places them in scenes in your storyboard as needed, and it does nothing else.
Yeah, you wish.
That's how tools work. Tools do simple tasks. So I guess my hammer can't separate into different tools. Well, unless you have a multi-tool. That's a different thing. But
the fear here is that it could be used for any number of pretty awful things. Because I guess what it's really doing, it's just sort of creating a model of this character that maybe it can always pull from or try its very best to replicate.
I haven't done it before, so I can't say for sure. But it does sound like it's another way to, for people to freely rip off copyrighted material. Yeah. And I made my own, Digimon comic. Now Agumon is going to Burger King and he's fighting Pikachu.
I know that AI already uses model files, or something like that, and LoRa files. I know about those. Mm-hmm. What I don't know about is, I guess, how this is differentiated from those. But
I guess you're going to have to try out some Midjourney and find out.
Yeah. For Midjourney, you have to join their Discord server.
That makes sense.
We had a friend who knew a little bit about Midjourney, and he was in their Discord server, and so it's kind of, you have to join it and type your prompts or pay, or I'm not paying. First of all, not to try this out, so you can forget about that. I'm sure there's some free Midjourney alternative out there. Any more stories before we
that's actually all
pull
I've
our
got.
hair out over the AI?
That's all I got.
All right, I've got one final one. So, Twitch's absurd goodbye gift after Twitch Korea shuts down. I'll keep this pretty quick, but you guys might know that Twitch Korea is basically shutting down. Twitch is leaving Korea. I don't know if it's because of they claimed prohibitively expensive costs for operating in Korea. I
wonder why Korea is prohibitively expensive and then no other country is.
Yeah, but they're pulling out of Korea. Apparently they've gotten fined for this by the Korean government for making VODs and stuff not be able to be displayed. But anyway, Twitch sends H.A. Chubby, I think that's who the streamer's name is,
I don't know this
an outdated calendar as a goodbye gift. Yeah, so AJ Chubby, who is a Twitch streamer, was left absolutely speechless after opening a gift sent to her after Twitch Korea had shut down. People have been protesting this change and all that. Well, despite the backlash, it seemed like Twitch wanted to give some of its most popular Korean creators a parting gift. But when AJ Chubby opened it up, she couldn't believe what was inside. In a March broadcast, she started checking out the calendar Twitch had sent her and started flipping through the pages, shocked that it wasn't even a recent one. Bro, 2022, she gasped. Guys, they gave me a 2022 calendar. What? For her part, the streamer tried to remain in good spirits and laughed the whole thing off as being outlandish. They gave a 2022 calendar for Twitch Korea shutting down, she exclaimed. So yeah, users on Reddit were equally baffled because it's already a fourth of the way through 2024 and they're giving out these 2022 calendars. So yeah, kind of bizarre thing.
I think they were just trying to get stuff out the office and just start sending them office supplies.
They had random just things in the Twitch warehouse.
I bet somebody got a Twitch stapler.
That might be worth something though. I mean, that kind of cool.
So hey guys, I gotta use water canister. There's even some water in it. Somebody was drinking out of this and they sent it to me.
It reminds me of when Twitter was bought by Elon Musk and they were trying to clear out their the Twitter HQ and they were selling chairs and desks and like things that were kind of Twitter branded.
Hey, anybody want a Twitter chair? It's got real Twitter butt sweat.
I mean, if it has a Twitter icon on it, maybe that means something because it's gone now. So it's X.
It's X, even though it's Twitter.
It's something. So yeah, it's kind of just a funny little story. Although it's not really funny that Twitch is leaving Korea, since they are still going to be doing. They will be streaming events that are like held in Korea, like some League of Legends championships and stuff.
But as far as like individual users, just SOL.
You just can't have like just a regular Korean Twitch streamer, and that really sucks.
It's
I think if you're
it's so weird.
Like a young person on Twitch, is like in your 20s, 30s, you stream, and that's like your livelihood. And
I don't think a corporate answer like prohibitively expensive is good enough for this as an explanation here, because I feel like they should have to say specifically. Like, okay,
what does that mean?
What was so expensive about operating in Korea that you had to like leave the region? But like every other country that has Twitch it's not too expensive. Why are they too expensive and no one else is?
Yeah, it sounds like the Korean government, the KCC, is kind of cracking down on that a little bit too. They're fining them for trying to leave like this because I mean that. I don't understand it fully. Obviously, I'm not an expert here, but it does feel like Twitch leaving the country that's like a hit to the economy of a lot of like young people there, and it's kind of the entertainment that the citizens get to have and all kinds of things. So
I mean, because if you're a Twitch streamer in South Korea, I guess you're
SOL.
SOL. What do you go to Kick? Is Kick there? I don't know.
I think Kick was not there and then is there now, or
I guess they had to switch platforms. It's kind of. I don't like that Twitch can just do that, given how invested people become in the platform. They make careers out of it. And see, no one's ever thought about the fact that, man, what if Twitch just leaves and tells me I can no longer stream?
Yeah, it's a rug pull. I'm hoping that maybe they can. I hope they can figure that out and not. I mean, it sounds like it's already happening, but it's very unfortunate.
I think there's something deeper at play here, something darker.
Well, it's time to do some pot, eh?
Well, I won't do pot, but I will at least take a look inside.
I think that we are on track for our longest podcast episode.
Are we?
Yeah, we're going pretty long. You know what's interesting about this is before we did this podcast, you guys, we were thinking like, man, this is probably going to be a short podcast because there's not that much Yu-Gi-Oh news. And there wasn't much big Yu-Gi-Oh news.
And we're talking about everything else under the sun.
But yeah, we talked about so much other stuff. So hopefully you guys are maybe enjoying that.
Oh, this one's long.
Is it?
Okay.
Yeah, we had some long ones when I was filling them out for the pot.
So this one says, I got to Master Rank 1 for the very first time. Congrats. But the grind was horrible. Are you going to try again? How could they improve the ladder experience? I guess they're asking you, Paul, since you made it to Master Rank 1 not long ago.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing this question. Getting to Master Rank 1 is kind of hell on earth. I mean, it's really not pleasant, and I've told you this, I'll tell anybody who will listen. Getting to Master Rank 1 there's some good sides to it and some bad sides to it, I'll say. Or like some ups, some downs, positive, negatives, whatever you want to say. I think the positives are more decks than you think can get to Master Rank 1. Like, everybody likes to think like, oh, you have to play like one of the kind of 2 or 3 best decks, the only way to get to Master Rank 1. I actually think that pretty much any of the top like 30 decks or something, maybe more, I don't know, but like the top 30 decks in Yu-Gi-Oh! Can probably get to Master Rank 1. Your favorite deck probably can make it.
Amazonas.
If you are, yes, actually. I think even Amazonas could.
That's insane.
But I think that it does require a kind of like, something's got to be a little bit off with you. And I say that because like something's a little bit off with me. I will play like Master Duel with, Dogmatica or these other like weird decks that really have terrible matchups and aren't equipped to really do the job, but I'll like bash my head in and like kind of make it happen. However, I don't think that's for everyone, and I think that for the vast majority of people, I totally see why people just find it to be kind of miserable. And some days I find it miserable. Like, you're dealing with coin flips, you're dealing with deck that just severely outclass yours at every turn, and
don't forget about brick hands.
Bricky hands and like kind of hand traps and maxi and everything else. And so I don't know what they could really do to improve that experience. I know that ladders in any game are supposed to get kind of brutal at the upper ranks. Like any game where there's kind of online matchmaking and pairings, it's always going to get kind of sticky and all that.
I don't know what that's like.
I think the best they could probably do, and I know already it's not happening, but some way to just reduce the variance would probably be doing best of threes. That's like the only thing that comes to mind for me is that like maybe you do a best of three just because like, you know, that way there's kind of it doesn't feel like, okay, lost coin flip, go second and like deal with huge board.
But don't you think that if you're playing like a weaker deck, you know, maybe not the top two, then
best of three hurts.
Yeah, because then now your opponent gets an extra game or two to remind you that first game was really like more a fluke.
Yeah, and that I'm glad you mentioned it because people do want kind of the best of three, and there's great reasons to ask for it. But the allure of sometimes playing a more roguish strategy is that you can kind of sneak wins. You can sneak wins off of matchups that people don't know a lot about or whatever. Maybe you can sneak a win on the Snake Eye or the Super Heavy or the branded deck or whatever just because they don't know kind of a niche interaction. And you only have to beat this random stranger on the internet once.
You'll never see him
again.
Like,
you'll never see him again. So if it's best of three, then suddenly like with or without side decking, that would still suddenly make things like harder to win, I would think, with like a rogue strategy. So I don't know if that's the answer. Plus, they already like kind of the part where they don't want best of three in Master Duel ranked because that's a huge time commitment. And not everybody's got like 45 minutes to sit and play like a full match.
But then again, maybe if you're trying to make Master rank 1,
maybe Master rank itself could be. I don't know. I don't know if there's a way to make the rank ladder better. I still think that Master Duel has bigger concerns, which are just like the lack of other modes and other formats outside of just playing ranked ladder against current best deck all day long.
This person asked, are you going to try again? You've done it once, you can do it again? I guess because they're wondering the same thing.
Oh, like, is it worth it to do it again?
Yeah. You did it last time.
I don't... Yeah, so I did it in January. I did not do it in February. It is now March.
Oh.
I will... I don't know. My Master Duel motivation... Like, I'll always play a good bit of Master Duel. But my motivation to get to like rank like Master Tier 1 really varies a little bit. Like for instance, right now the Duelist Cup is happening, which is arguably more brutal, some would say. And I'm not planning on doing that. So like maybe that'll take some of the good players out of the pool, and I can like get to Master Rank 1 easier.
Just slinks his way up there.
But I don't think that I would recommend it to many people. And I understand that is like kind of a weird hypocritical thing almost to say. But, like, I think I'm kind of crazy. Like, I like butting my head against Master Duel, but I wouldn't suggest many people do it. Unless, like, you're a real glutton for punishment, you know, and then kind of ready to deal with the horrors that entails.
Isn't it possible that your fight to Master Rank 1 is what enabled you to beat a multi-time YCS champion?
Right. Sure. True. I mean, no, but I don't know. Master Duel's crazy. It's the Master Rank 1 climb, not for the faint of heart. That's where I'll end it on.
So guys, if your heart's strong, though.
Yeah, so, anywho, time for my question. It feels like there's never enough space when building a deck to fit in all the hand traps and staples. Mm-hmm. Any tips?
Oh, okay. You run a modern deck. Those decks nowadays, they just come with space. The engines are lean, and they're just ready for 15 hand traps.
Yeah. What would I say? Either A, you can just run more than 40 cards. That's something I've been telling lot of people. I
actually just recently increased the size of one of my decks because I just wanted to have some good, solid hand traps.
It's not a sin to go up to 42. It's not a sin to go up to 44. You can even play a 60-card deck if you just really want to fit everything in.
That's scary.
And I also would say, at least when it comes to like the Master Duel deck building thing, because I know in the TCG it's sort of different. There's like siding in, siding out. You can kind of change things. With Master Duel, I think it's important to consider like what like everybody will say things like, oh, you have to run like 3 Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom, 2 Called By, and like a Crossout Designator. And like these are these 9 spaces that are like forced into your deck, plus whatever other staples. That's not necessarily true, though. I do think that there are some decks that can actually get away with not running, say, Called by the Grave and Crossout Designator because their deck is more resilient to hand traps. Mm-hmm. So if you consider that your deck doesn't have to worry as much about Maxi or, Ash Blossom, then that means that you can also free up those 3 spaces dedicated to Called by and all that for perhaps
more hand traps.
It could be more hand traps. It could be triple tactics talent. It could be more in-engine cards. Mm-hmm. But I guess just don't assume that your deck needs to run every staple just because they're called staples.
That's true.
Like, not every deck has to have those things, so.
And that's kind of what the side deck is for, too.
Yes. In the TCG, I can't speak as much to it. The side deck kind of gives you that freedom, but.
All right. So would Yu-Gi-Oh! Be in a healthier place if it adopted set rotation and time wizard format at events and in products?
Oh boy!
These are really just like ones. 2 huge. Really, it's like okay. I mean, set rotation is its own beast. Mm-hmm. A lot of people have advocated for it in Yu-Gi-Oh. We've seen how it works in Pokemon. I haven't really paid too much attention to like Magic's rotation, but we know set rotation can work, and it has worked in other card games, and it could work for Yu-Gi-Oh, but I think we'd also have to have a change in card design, like how we make new cards, and like Konami would have to have like a whole strategy for a new strategy for product releases and everything. It's a grand endeavor.
Yeah. Oh man, the set rotation question. Like, well, I'll get into the time wizard in a second, but
set rotation in a general sense would help us control formats a lot better and just kind of like take things out of formats without having necessarily to ban them.
Yeah, I think there's like a lot of arguments in favor of it. I for sure think like it would allow that you don't have to worry about the ban list kind of getting rid of your deck, right? Mm-hmm. Like it will get rotated out and it's like a known time exactly when this deck will rotate out.
And power creep doesn't have to be as crazy anymore.
Exactly. Konami does not have to like make cards progressively stronger and archetypes and stuff stronger. Because that's been like a real like thing recently is that a lot of these archetypes have gotten to a sort of point where they play around hand traps, right? Mm-hmm. And or archetypes, they'll play around like this or that. And it can kind of get to a point where it's like, clearly Konami is having to adjust for the presence of Ash Blossom by making decks that like set the card directly from the deck or whatever, or instead of like, adding it to hands so they can't be ashed. Or they'll kind of make it where this can like negate something within the 5th turn so there can't be Nibiru, or it plays around this and that. In addition to like everything floats and all that. And I think that you wouldn't have to like make archetypes super strong to sell sets.
Right.
Because with like a rotation sort of thing, it's different. Like, you get what I mean?
No, I certainly get what you mean. I mean, look at what happened with TR Elements. They made an archetype so strong that the ban list wasn't really enough.
The ban list has to they've had to go through several iterations.
Just over and over again. And people still find a way to make these cards work because the power creep got a little too crazy. The devs they let something too strong come out.
Yeah.
I mean, now thankfully they have chopped it down enough where other decks can shine. But now we operate in this post-TR Element world where it's like, so what's a stronger deck look like? I don't want to know.
You gotta move on to like stronger and stronger. So, okay. So as for like player experience with something like set rotation, I think there's also ups and downs. Like some people like the idea that their cards don't ever really get like outdated, right. And so some people wouldn't want like, oh, I bought this deck or I kind of like this deck and now I just am told I can't play it.
People's pet decks.
Yeah, your pet deck is suddenly like, oh, I guess you can't play Amazonas, Alec. Sorry.
Yeah, it would be weird for someone to tell me I can't run like Amazonas or Ancient Gears.
Yeah, like for the mid-power deck, I think that rotation feels insultingly.
Because like you were never good to begin with, and now you can't be played.
Yeah, like now your mid-tier thing is just never. I mean, it never got to be in the spotlight.
I guess, but then see, then that's a format thing though, because the set rotation would only happen in your standard format. And then you should
So
be
it'd
able to play
also
your
be an
decks in
eternal
your other format.
And
So,
then like the player base is now kind of like
Split.
pressed between like, well, maybe it's, like if they added rotation today, there would just be players who would, because it'd probably be a choice, right? Unless YCS events enforced the rotation, which that could be an interesting thought. Unless YCS events like enforced it, I don't know that people would let go of Yu-Gi-Oh as it is now. Like we have a lot of complaints about it, but I would not be surprised if there's just a group of people who would be like, but I still want to play my.
I think
you know,
the very
my Black
competitive and professional players will fully embrace the rotation and rock with it because
They will play whatever it takes to win.
They want to
Like,
sling cards and win championships. That's all they care about. They have their favorite decks. That does not mean anything to them. They will move on.
yeah, it feels like for the casual player, they might actually take more issue with rotation. And now that Yu-Gi-Oh's this deep in 25 some odd years, right? Like
It'll be too hard for like the casual fan to just say
suddenly
goodbye, Blue Eyes.
yeah. So conversely, I think that we just need the mid power level thing. Like we need a format. You know, Konami I guess calls it Heart of the Underdog, but they won't.
We don't talk.
They
about
won't
that.
balance it themselves. But like where does the mid power deck shine? Like where do you get to play just your dual avatar deck, your new flame swordsman deck, your Melfi deck, like
And,
where's a format for that?
It doesn't exist because even in this question, which we've only answered part of,
Yeah,
does not have an
doesn't-
answer for that.
Rotation does not answer that
Because
so.
they also talk about time wizard formats at events and in products. Now we've talked about time wizard products. They need to exist in order to promote the popularity of things like GOAT and Edison format, but I don't. But as that's not really the solution we're looking for, right?
Yeah, Time Wizard formats. I mean, they've been doing them at events. They've been doing like large scale.
And
kind of
they've been
Edison
pretty
things.
popular.
It's been popping off. It doesn't speak to the local level all that much. Now I know there are local shops that have like their Edison Day, but like I still don't know that. I'll get back to that in a second. I'm going to talk about the part with the products. I don't know if Konami's ever going to do Edison products because I just don't know if that stuff will sell well.
It's
a
a
niche within a
hard
niche.
sell. It's a hard sell.
It's the same thing we were talking about earlier with like speed duel products, right? You are going to be being resold old things. Now, at least it's not like speed duels where they're telling you can only use the products from this set to play in an Edison tournament. But still, I mean, like, I don't know how excited will you get. Like, I know that Magical Android and stuff like that kind of need reprints, but how excited would you get to buy a pack that like has Magical Android in it, which is still technically just not good level 5 synchro?
I mean,
like
Battles of Legend. We just had an Edison
I guess
set.
you sneak it into Battles of Legend stuff. You sneak it into other sets and just hope that does the job.
It's
because for Konami, that's an investment for a product that might very well like sit on the shelf and just not sell to the average person who wants to go to the YCS and play the Snake Eye kind of whatever the current format is. They don't buy this. You're niche within a niche now. So
it's like, but would Yu-Gi-Oh be in a healthier place?
To answer the full-on question, if they did rotation format and then they did Time Wizard products and events, like more they further emphasize those, would Yu-Gi-Oh be in a healthier place? Do you think it would?
No.
I'm inclined to agree with you.
And I only say no because there's so much more that needs to be done outside of these things. You can't just do these two things and Yu-Gi-Oh's automatically better. We would, because like once I say Konami have to change the way they design products. Yeah. There need to be another maybe have a whole new format for Eternal Play. Like,
so to be clear,
there's a lot here.
I think it could be better if we're assuming that like we're at 0 now, and so some changes can make things worse and some things can make things better. I think these two changes could probably have some benefits.
If Konami announced set rotation tomorrow,
it's scary. Like,
right?
I'm not sure. I used to be like super on the set rotation train. Now I'm like half on, half off.
Because it's like if Konami does it well, then yay. If they don't,
but if it happened tomorrow, okay, serious comment for the day. If Konami, like if you're listening to this right now, you can let us know. Konami tomorrow says like set rotations happening. Let's just assume they do it kind of like how Magic or Pokemon, like every 2 years, something like that. If they announce set rotation tomorrow, be honest with yourself. How will that affect you? And would you actually like it.
Are you dropping your decks that just get out at the cutoff immediately?
Because remember, like anything that's 2 years old as of today, like cannot be played.
There's archetypes that got support in the last.
Because now your Raid Raptor deck maybe can't use Raid Raptor Nest or something anymore. Right. Your whatever kind of got some support in like Age of Overlord or Duelist Nexus. Like maybe Unchained can't use any old Unchained cards because they are all, you know what I mean?
Like look at poor hero decks, shambles.
Yeah. Like, so would you actually be okay with that? And the answer is, I think that there would be a lot. I think that I'm more with you where the bigger issue is like getting game design itself to just a more manageable level. It's a tough question.
That is a tough one. We're gonna put an asterisk on that.
Yeah, we're gonna put a pin in that. Do you prefer graded cards or binders for collecting and displaying purposes? This is from Basic Nerd, a familiar name.
I just binder my cards. I don't have any graded cards.
I have 2 graded cards in my entire. I've owned a total of 3. I had like one that but
I guess so far I don't have any cards I consider just a trophy that I don't want to play.
I don't grade cards for 2 reasons. A, it's expensive as hell. So the 2 cards I got graded were during one of those Beckett promotional kind of sale times, like around the holiday or something. So you get like kind of some cheap prices on graded cards. Getting card graded costs too much money for me. Now I know some people like that's like what they do, and they feel that it's worth it because these cards will accumulate like greater value by being slabbed and graded a 9 or 10 or whatever. As I am not super interested in like getting into that market of like kind of the cards' values and tracking them and like having this glorious collection of 1 billion graded cards, I don't think that I'll ever have a huge graded collection. I might grade a handful more cards in my entire Yu-Gi-Oh career. Like I have an Elemental Hero Air Neos. That might be worth a grade.
Might be.
I have the 2 graded cards I have is a DDS Blue Eyes and a DDS Dark Magician. I'd like to maybe grade my final DDS card, which is a DDS Exodia Head, just to have those 3. But I might just stop there. Like that's kind of the extent.
My favorite cards, I only get expensive cards to play them, so I'll probably just never grade them, and they'll lose value over time as they get more wear. But that doesn't actually matter to me because the monetary value doesn't like it. It's sentimental value actually only increases for me.
Yeah. So for me, I don't mind like stuff being in a binder or even like in kind of just a box, kind of just away. I don't know. I'm not super into like displaying it in slabs. I don't even know what I would do with all those slabs. So
you can fill up your Kaiba briefcase with slabs.
That could actually be kind of fun.
That's how Kaiba would flex.
Yeah. I just don't know if that's a lot of slabs. Well, anywho, I think that's all the questions for the pot today.
That's it, guys.
And I think we might have broken the record for our longest pot of greed yet. It might be 2.5 hours.
With the fewest amount of Yu-Gi-Oh stories we could find.
Yeah, so hopefully you guys enjoyed. Shout outs to everybody who is listening, no matter what platform you do.
Shout outs to our live listeners for the premiere.
Yeah, always appreciate that. Drop some likes, share it around. Remember, you can submit questions for the pot yourself at the link in the video description.
And we'll see you guys next time. Pass turn.